It was
Coming up next from CBS Sports, Game 1 of the World Series.
Within the ballpark, time moves differently, marked by no clock except the events of the game. This is the way the game was played in our youth and in our fathers' youth. Since baseball time is measured only in outs, all you have to do is succeed utterly. Keep hitting. Keep the rally alive, and you have defeated time. You remain forever young.
It seems that with every sunrise in mid-October, memories of baseball take over. It's the one place where you can always look for a hero, and you'll find a hero looking back at you. It's no wonder, then, that this is our national pastime.
Well, a little while ago, when we mentioned that this one, in typical fashion, was going right to the wire, little did we know. So here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep left, and they do it. Back to the wall goes Berra. It is over the fence, home run. The Pirates win. Two strikes to the ball to Mitchell with two away in the top of this ninth inning. Here comes the pitch. Strike three. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Martin.
Tied 6-6. Darcy pitching. A 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings long drive left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win.
We have a big 3-2 pitch coming here from Eckersley. Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable. A home run for Gibson.
Yes, through the years, baseball has touched a lot of folks, including a fan named Mark Twain, whose alter ego put it this way: "My name is Huckleberry Finn. Folks know me by my freckled grin. And I'll admit that as a rule, I'd rather watch baseball than go to school." Well, it's official now. Summer is over, but look what lies ahead. You know, the Reds and their fans have been waiting for these moments since 1976. It's not a real long time ago, but when you're talking baseball, it's a lifetime. And so you can understand why the good folks here in Cincinnati have been celebrating nonstop, and why just this afternoon over 7,000 of them held a pep rally in downtown Fountain Square. And you know what color they've been painting this town. But there's a group of Northern Californians who have made it a habit to spoil the party. And soon we'll start finding out whether this October is a time for destiny or dynasty. And so on this pleasant 68-degree autumn evening in the Queen City, it's Game 1 of the World Series, the Oakland Athletics and the Cincinnati Reds on CBS Sports. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, along with Jack Buck, Tim McCarver, and Jim Cott. Welcome to our CBS Sports coverage of the 1990 World Series. Well, a newspaper here this morning summed up the local feeling: the underdog Reds versus the awesome A's. And why not? After all, Oakland they're riding a remarkable streak of 10 straight postseason games, including sweeps of last year's World Series against the Giants and last week's American League Championship Series against the Red Sox. The Cincinnati Reds have their share of accomplishments to be proud of as well. This year, they became the first team in the National League to lead the regular season standings from wire to wire. And then, of course, they overcame a tough Pittsburgh squad in a 6-game NLCS. And so as we get right to work at starting pitching, where we start, and where this series may well be decided, Oakland opens with Dave Stewart. Jose Rio for the Reds. Stewart has been baseball's best pitcher for the past 4 seasons, and he's now won 6, count them, 6 straight postseason games, one shy of Bob Gibson's record. Jose Rio will open for the Reds. He won Game 4 of the NLCS, and down the stretch, he's been the most consistent pitcher for Cincinnati. And take a look at Jose arriving at the ballpark. He got some last-minute encouragement from his father-in-law, Hall of Famer Juan Marichal, and a kiss from his wife, the former Rosie Marichal. Juan Marichal, ironically, is on the A's payroll as their chief Latin American scout. But both pitchers will be facing cleanup hitters who continue to play hurt. Jose Canseco of the A's hurt the middle finger of his right hand in a freak accident at home in the kitchen. He's been getting daily treatment, and I asked him about his health less than an hour ago.
The problem is definitely gripping the bat and also throwing. This is the power finger. When you throw a ball, it's where you control it. So it's kind of weak right now and swollen, but I'll just have to do the best I can.
As for Eric Davis of the Reds, he has played all season with an injured right knee. September 27th, he's making a spectacular catch, and he could not control his momentum, and his left shoulder slams into a thinly padded wall. And because of the injury, he told us tonight that it's going to affect the way he hits in this series.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do right now. If I was feeling good, then I would probably generate a little bit more bat speed or look for a particular pitch and try to hit it out of the ballpark. But under the circumstances, I'm just looking to put the bat on the ball and make good contact.
And the other big injury story, A's starting shortstop Walt Weiss, he sprained his knee ligaments in Game 2 of the ALCS. He's out for the series. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at this matchup with two gentlemen who have spent the last 2 weeks with both these teams, Jim Cott and Tim McCarver, as our coverage of the 1990 World Series rolls on from a stadium on the river here on CBS.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 1 of the 1990 World Series is brought to you by
The last time the A's and the Reds hooked up in a World Series was 1972. It was a 7-game affair, of which 6 games were decided by 1 run before the A's emerged triumphant. And now, 18 years later, once again, it's the A's and the Reds. And we asked our CBS Sports baseball analysts, Jim Cott and Tim McCarver, to size up these 2 league champions.
Well, the Oakland Athletics showed the baseball world they can win games without hitting home runs. In fact, they're the first team in 71 years to win a postseason series without hitting one. They really win games with defense and great pitching, and sometimes we tend to overlook their starting pitching. Well, we've got Bob Welch, the number 2 starter for the Oakland Athletics. He won 27 games during the regular season. He'll be the American League Cy Young Award winner, yet he's starting Game 2. Dave Stewart is the ace of this staff. Great postseason record. And between them, Stewart and Welch have won more games than any 2 pitchers in the same team than Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale back in the late 60s. Think about this. If this series goes 7 games, the Cincinnati Reds will have to face Stewart or Welch in 5 of those games.
And I think it bodes well also for the Athletics that all of their starting pitchers are right-handed. That's not the case with the Cincinnati Reds. Jose Rijo starting tonight is right-handed, but Danny Jackson starting tomorrow night and Tom Browning starting on Friday night are left-handed, and the Oakland Athletics hit about 40 points higher against left-handed pitching than they do right-handers. I think if the Cincinnati Reds are going to win, they're going to have to do it with speed and defense. They have 6 of their 8 guys that they're starting tonight. Yes, Hal Morris and Paul O'Neill, they can run well too. They're going to be able to run and open things up. I think that's what Lou Piniella's going to have to do, open it wide open. And as far as their defense is concerned, I think they're going to have to play the same type of defense that they played against Pittsburgh. Tight outfield defense. You saw what Glenn Braggs did, leaping above the fence to make the catch in Game 6. And the 4 assists, 2 by O'Neill, and the brilliant play by Eric Davis in Pittsburgh.
Well, and I think the Athletics don't have team speed to match up with the Cincinnati Reds, but they've got some great individual speed. Ricky Henderson, best base stealer in baseball. You got Willie McGee and Jose Canseco. And on defense, the A's have a better defensive infield than outfield. Great infield defense. That could suffer in the series because of the injury to Walt Weiss. Mike Gallego, normally a second baseman, will move over to shortstop. Veteran Willie Randolph will go to second base. They could lose a step in range with that combination on AstroTurf. That might be a factor.
I love how Tony La Russa weaves in very methodically his left-hander Rick Honeycutt to probably face Paul O'Neill and Hal Morris in late-inning situations, and Gene Nelson with a double play ball, and Dennis Eckersley probably and arguably the best relief pitcher in the last 2 decades.
And then if you're the Reds, you got the nasty boys. They don't care if they're left-handed or right-handed. They've struck out more hitters than any other bullpen in baseball history. Really, the only difference I can see with these 2 bullpens, late in the game, one of the nasty boys could walk Ricky Henderson, and that could be a factor. I don't see Dennis Eckersley walking anybody.
I foresee tonight a 6-inning game. Whoever's ahead after 6 innings is going to win the ball game.
With a lot of strategy early in the game by both managers to try to score a run.
Some not so random thoughts from the field before Game 1.
Talking baseball with Tim and Jim. We come back here, we'll meet the A's and the Reds as our World Series coverage continues on CBS. Stay with us. Welcome back to Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio, as we approach Game 1 of the 1990 World Series. Let's meet the principals. And right now, to make the introductions, let's go to public address announcer John Browdy.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Riverfront Stadium for Game 1 of the 1990 World Series between the Oakland Athletics and the Cincinnati Reds. Now presenting the American League champion, Oakland Athletics. Introducing Athletics manager Tony La Russa. Here is the Athletics starting lineup. Leading off and playing left field, number 24, Ricky Henderson. Batting second and playing center field, number 51, Willie McGee. Hitting third and playing right field, number 33, Jose Canseco. Hitting fourth and playing first base, number 25, Mark McGuire. Batting fifth and playing third base, number 4, Carney Lansford. Batting sixth and catching, number 36, Terry Steinbach. Hitting seventh and playing second base, number 30, Willie Randall. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 9, Mike Gallego. And batting ninth and pitching for the Athletics, in the bullpen, number 34, Dave Stewart. And the rest of the Oakland Athletics. Now presenting the National League champions, Cincinnati Reds. Introducing Reds manager Lou Piniella. Here is the Reds starting lineup. Leading off and playing shortstop, number 11, Barry Larkin. Batting second and playing center field, number 22, Billy Hatcher. Hitting third and playing right field, number 21, Paul O'Neill. Hitting fourth and playing left field, number 44, Eric Davis. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 23, Al Morris. Batting sixth and playing third base, number 17, Chris Sabo. Hitting 7th and catching, number 9, Joe Oliver. Batting 8th and playing second base, number 7, Mariano Duncan. And batting 9th and pitching for the Reds in the bullpen, number 27, Jose Rijo. Now the remaining members of the Cincinnati Reds. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please rise, face the American flag in center field, and join United States Air Force Captain Alan Boykin in the singing of our national anthem.
Tessa.
We're dedicating this World Series to our wonderful women and men over in the Far East that are serving us. And they're the greatest, and we're going to stand behind them. And this series is for them. Thank you. I would like a moment of silence or prayer for our people over there. Please bow your heads. Good deal, okay?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave over the land of the free and the
Well, kids, we're getting close, and we'll join our World Series play-by-play team of Jack Buck and Tim McCarver when we continue live from Cincinnati after a word from your local station.
I know you've heard 100 pitches about drugs. Well, make it 101, because here's mine. The reason over 25 million Americans have tried crack and cocaine is because the high can be powerful and exciting. It's also frightening. In fact, it's like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Right between the eyes. Real professionals maintain control even when others are getting wild. The next time somebody pitches drugs to you, make the right play. Walk away. Just walk away.
We're in a must-win situation, and we're all in it together.
Well, right now we're about set for Game 1 of the 1990 World Series, and from our left center field perch, let's send it 400 feet across the field to Tim McCarver and Jack Buck. Good evening, Jack.
Good evening, Pat, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A long baseball season, and only one item remains. That is, who will be the champions. We certainly hope you enjoy the World Series here on CBS. We visit with both managers before each game, and Tony La Russa said no changes. If we get Ricky Henderson on base, we're not going to be bunting. We're going to play it the same way we played it all year. Lou Piniella said we are going to run. We're going to move. We're going to bunt. We're going to steal. We're going to hit and run. And he said, oh, yes, there is one problem, Tim McCarver, trying to get men on base against Dave Stewart.
I think if I were Lou Piniella, the Cincinnati theme tonight should be first things first. Who's up first? Ricky Henderson. And obviously the rest of the lineup contributes mightily for the Oakland A's, but everybody rallies around Ricky. And who's the first pitcher the Reds are going to face? Dave Stewart. I'll tell you, the feeling around baseball now is Dave Stewart is almost invulnerable. As Pat O'Brien said, he's won 6 straight postseason games, and he is a tough, tough dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they've got to beat him somewhere along the line. He could pitch 3 games, and we have wonderful weather, and we'll have a good game.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 1 of the 1990 World Series.
Standing room only for this game with the Cincinnati Reds and the Oakland A's. And we'll play the first 2 games here, then a day off for travel. And Friday we'll be in the Oakland Coliseum. Jose Rio, 25 years old, won 1 game in 2 starts against Pittsburgh in the National League playoff.
Defensively for the Cincinnati Reds, Eric the Great, they call him. Not quite great because of his injuries now to his left shoulder and right knee. He's in left field. Billy Hatcher in center field tonight. Paul O'Neill, you saw him, or you may have seen him with those 2 fine assists in the National League Championship Series. Chris Sabo led all National League third basemen in fielding this year. He's at third. Barry Larkin, the shortstop. What an athlete. Mariano Duncan at second base, the ex-Dodger. Formerly with the Yankees, Hal Morris, a rookie at first base. Joe Oliver behind the plate, an excellent arm. And as Jack said, Jose Rio on the mound.
And the batting order to be faced by Rio. It's Ricky Henderson in left, Willie McGee in center field, Jose Canseco in right field, Mark McGuire at first base, Carney Lansford at third, Terry Steinbach behind the plate, Willie Randolph at second, and Mike Gallego at shortstop, and Dave Stewart on the mound. And the crowd gets revved up for the first pitch. Ricky Henderson, and you know how he is capable of starting the game with a bang. Strike call by Frank Pulley, the plate umpire. We're underway as the flash bulbs popped. And it'll be Henderson, McGee, and Canseco here in the Oakland first. Breaking ball, strike 2. Keep him off base at Tim McCarver. The umpires are Frank Pulley behind the plate, Rocky Rowe, Jim Quick, Ted Hendry, Randy Marsh, and Larry Barnett. 2 quick strikes on Ricky Henderson. Foul right back here. And the count stays 0-2.
Jose Rio obtained by the Cincinnati Reds from the Oakland Athletics back in December of 1987 in the Dave Parker trade.
On 0-2. High fastball, he fouled it back, 1-2. Ricky, he gets on base, things happen. They explode.
Yeah, I think it's important that Rio got ahead of Henderson with that small strike zone, crouching, trying to duck under everything.
This plate umpire, Frank Pulley, has in the past shown a very liberal strike zone. He'll punch you out. You better be swinging if you're a batter.
Oliver way outside there. That ball missed by about 4 inches. That was an intentional ball from Rijo.
And the count 1-2 to the leadoff man. Another foul back here. Hey, he's shooting at us. He shot one to our left, and he sent one straight back here. And the count stays 1-2.
I guess you could say right out of the chute, right?
We don't want any souvenirs, Ricky. Hit it someplace else.
First 6 pitches, and 2 of them just misses.
They're like mortar rounds. One to our left, one to our right. Watch out for this one. You're out. That's the way this one starts. I tell you about Frank Pulley, this plate umpire. If you're in this game, you better go up there swinging. There's one out.
First thing first, and Ricky Henderson thought this pitch was outside. Look where Oliver is sitting, off the plate away, and that was a liberal strike on Ricky Henderson. Usually if you hit your catcher's mitt that many times in a row, whether it's outside or not, you'll get the pitch.
McGee, ball 1. Willie is known to swing at high pitches occasionally, but not that high. Ball 1. This fella is tough to figure with a bat in his hand. He'll look left and hit it right, vice versa. He'll chase him in the dirt, hit him over, swing over his head. He'll miss a pitch down the middle, and then he'll burn you. He hit .335 and won the National League batting title.
Ricky Henderson still complaining. A little activity and animation after the first batter, thinking that ball was outside.
He is disturbed and perturbed. And it's 1-1 to McGee, switch hitter. Late swing, 1-2.
Yeah, it's so unusual. You say Willie McGee, the National League batting champion, batting .335. He was traded with more than 502 plate appearances. And for that reason, he ended up on top of the National League hitters. Very unusual. He had 113 bats for Oakland in September.
Bouncer to short. Larkin waits, flips, and 2 out. There don't seem to be any nerves on display here at this moment. Tim?
No, they're really, both teams very impressed with how calm they were during batting practice before the game. Now this is something that's got to keep you from being calm right there. Here you are hitting balls into the screen with all the media on the field.
And during batting practice, Canseco was pounding the ball.
He was cranking.
He hit one into the upper deck here, and he must have lost about a dozen baseballs. Bad back, bad finger on his right hand. Ball 1 to him, 2 out.
Tell you, he gets as much of a reaction out of the crowd as any player in the game today.
And ball 1 strike, and the Cincinnati fans are cheering on every strike. The first 2 have been retired. Well, if Rijo is going to pitch this well, we know Stewart's going to pitch well. So that's the sort of game we have in store. Rijo bringing it too. That was his best fastball thus far. Well out of the strike zone, 2-1.
That's a scouting report on Canseco. You can tease him away with the slider and off-speed stuff, but you hammer hard inside. That's where pitchers try to pitch him, especially right-handed pitchers. Fastballs inside.
Tim and I both think we're going to see some very aggressive pitching on the part of Cincinnati, knocking these hitters off the plate. They're all right-handed hitters except McGee, the switch hitter. Big swing on it, 2-2.
See, that's the fun thing. I mean, even Canseco, he swings through a pitch and everybody cheers. I mean, he gets a reaction, this guy. He does not go to the plate and get cheated, does he?
3-2 on another high fastball and moved him back. Now let's see how Rijo, who is from the Dominican Republic, tries to get him out. There's Lou Piniella, his manager. And his Reds in front, wire to wire. Breaking ball, popped it up, foul ball, and Oliver can't get to it. Another day, that ball, now even that would have been out of his reach. There's a temporary box right in front of the fans there. So it stays 3-2 on Canseco. National League President Bill White is on hand here, enjoying the action. He's rooting for the Reds. He's sitting on the Cincinnati side. 3-2. Strike. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Rijo. Another borderline pitch. He fanned Henderson on a called strike and got Canseco on a called strike. 1/2 inning, no score.
Well, the adrenaline pumping for everyone, and to start the game, Jose Rijo got the fastball up there in the mid-90s. In fact, a couple of them 97 miles an hour, and you saw those up and in pitches to Canseco that Timmy was talking about. Let's go back upstairs to Jack and Timmy.
Jose had a good first inning. He set them down in order and fanned 2 along the way. Well, the Oakland pitcher can do the same thing. That's Dave Stewart out there on the mound. He was 2-0 against Boston in the American League Championship Series, and he can bring it also. Here's the starting lineup for Cincinnati. Barry Larkin, Billy Hatcher, Paul O'Neill, Eric Davis, Al Morris, Chris Sabo, Joe Oliver, Mariano Duncan, and Rijo. They'll use the DH when we go to Oakland on Friday. First batter is Larkin. And ball 1 to him. Barry had a half dozen hits against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we salute the Pirates and the Red Sox for their great accomplishments this year. Ball 2 to Larkin. You know, there's nothing worse in baseball, to our mind, than to win your division and then get knocked out and can't play in the series. That's a crusher. And our best to the members of the Pirates and the Red Sox, and a strike to Larkin, 2-1. It'll be Larkin, Hatcher, and O'Neill. From the Goodyear blimp, a look. We had a little dampness around here in this area in recent days. Perfect today. Some of the turf spots still wet. Larkin hits it to deep center field, and Willie McGee is on the move. He can chase him down, and he took care of that one out. Ooh, says the crowd.
Willie McGee, one of those center fielders that can play shallow and prevent the hits in front of him. And he realizes that there's enough hang time to go back and make catches like this. Formerly a Gold Glover, the MVP in the National League back in 1985. He can flat track them down.
Hatcher is up, and Billy takes a strike, and Stewart gets ahead. Hatcher, 5 out of 15 with a home run against Pittsburgh. Breaking ball misses. Even before the game, we saw Stewart on the bench kind of hypnotizing himself. He seems like he's on a mountaintop and no one's around. Misses with a breaking ball, falls behind 2-1.
A guy who was released by the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1986, and on that team was a left-hander by the name of Steve Carlton. And they used to talk about these trances before a game.
Out of the strike zone, 3-1 to Hatcher.
Not meaning to say that they were very close friends, but they were on the same ball club. And Stewart learned a lot from concentration from Steve Carlton. That demonic stare.
Hatcher hit a foul and out of play, and it's 3-2. One thing about this pitcher, Stewart, he does not walk many. He had 166 strikeouts and half as many, 83 walks. He did allow 16 home runs. He missed low.
Before that pitch, you saw Dave Stewart wipe twice on his pants legs. Usually if a pitcher gets a slider from the catcher, instead of shaking him off and going back to the fastball, he'll wipe twice. That means subtract 2 from that 3. That's 1, you get the fastball, and that's what he was doing when he wiped twice on his pants leg.
Are baseball players that smart?
Oh, yeah. Count to 3 or 4? Sure.
1 on, 1 out for Paul O'Neill. One thing about this series, with his Oakland pitching, Stewart, Welch, and Moore, these left-handers such as O'Neill are going to have to do some hitting if Cincinnati is to win. Ball 1. Now remember what Lou Piniella told us. He said he's going to run. He's got one of his best base stealers, Hatcher, on at first, and O'Neill at the plate. He's looking at the signs also.
Open it up full throttle. That's what Lou Piniella says. 7 of the 8 guys can run, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Hatcher take off right here.
And a half swing and a strike, 1-1 to O'Neill.
I talked to Dave Stewart yesterday about the speed of the Cincinnati Reds, and he said that Tony La Russa takes care of all of that. He tells us when to step off, when to throw to first, and when to pitch out.
And La Russa told us he's most concerned with the pitcher getting the ball to the plate in a hurry. So he called a step off.
Right.
Catcher picks up those signs. Now he calls a throw over.
There you see Terry Steinbach getting the sign. It was a throw to first base, and Hatcher has to dive back. So if he was running, he's less apt to now because of the throws to first base.
He hops back in, and it stays 1-1 on the batter, O'Neill. Mark McGuire holding against the runner. Strike call. This plate umpire will keep firing up that right hand. It's Frank Pulley, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And O'Neill is in the hole. Larkin flied out to deep center. Hatcher walked. 1 ball, 2 strikes to O'Neill. Stewart trying all the tricks to try to keep Hatcher close. Struck him out on a bad ball low with that fork ball, and the runner is still at first with 2 out. Well, I'm probably like you are, Tim, wondering why they didn't run.
Yeah, I think that's what stepping off and burying your delivery will do to a guy at first base. Billy Hatcher with great speed, but when you throw over there a couple of times, make him dive back, then you bury the delivery, speed up the delivery, then he is less apt to run. You see Paul O'Neill going after that fork ball, that split finger. Both pitchers had that pitch. Dave Duncan taught Dave Stewart, and Jose De Leon taught it to Rijo. Well, they learned it from different people, but very effective with that split finger fastball.
You saw that figure for Eric Davis against Pittsburgh. Only 4 hits in 23 at bats. Runner going. Fly ball to deep, deep center field. McGee back. It's going to go. Think they just won the World Series. Here's Hal Morris. There's a strike to hit.
Well, they certainly may have taken a step in that direction. Lou Piniella told us before the game that Eric Davis was going to try to hit the ball to right field.
Just make contact.
Yeah, forget the power.
2 quick ones on Morris.
And on the first pitch, Eric Davis trying to go to right field goes to center field a long way.
And the runner was going. What a good hit and run that was. A walk and a home run. Morris takes ball 1. That's the most devastating combination in baseball. A walk and one of these.
Fastball right down the middle of the plate. And he knew it.
Morris corks the ball foul and stays up there 1-2.
That's the thing about guys like Davis. He's been in a slump, probably realizing Dave Stewart's trying to get ahead. 22nd player to hit a home run in his first World Series at bat. The last guy, Bill Babe, in last year's series, the Giant catcher.
2-2 to Hal Morris. The implacable Tony La Russa. And a full count on this bet. Stewart got Larkin, walked Hatcher, struck out O'Neill, and lost Eric Davis big time. It's 2-0 Cincinnati, first inning. Strike! I'm telling you, this umpire will keep you swinging. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Stewart. For Cincinnati, 2 runs on 1 hit. After 1, the Reds lead it 2-0.
When a hitter hits the ball and then looks down, then you know he's not worried about running. Watch Davis. He hits it, and now he looks down for a place to put his bat. He doesn't throw his bat because he knows he's going to trot around the bases and not run around them.
Mark McGuire is up. First pitch of ball from Jose Rijo. Ball 2. Rijo got ahead of the hitters in the first inning and fanned 2 along the way. These Oakland A's have won 10 postseason games in a row. Breaking ball on 2-0. Eric was cheered by the left field fans when he took his position. The Oakland A's in the series against the Giants last year were never behind in any of the 4 games. 3-1. He can afford to challenge him, leading 2-0. And he did, and he got it off the end of the bat, and it carries out to Hatcher. 1 out.
New York Yankees in 1927 and 28 won 2 series in a row, sweeping 2 opponents, and then in 1932 they won 4 more. That was when Babe Ruth called the shot off Charlie Root at Wrigley Field. Oakland, if they win 2 more, they tie those great Yankee teams.
Here's a foul going out of play by Carney Lansford. Strike 1 to him. In those 10 games that they've won in a row, Oakland has never trailed by 2 runs.
That's remarkable.
That's how good they are. There's 1 out and a foul off the end of the bat, and that's strike 2. And I'll bet this plate umpire has made a few hitters nervous already. He's punched out 3 uncalled third strikes.
As long as they're consistent, and Frank Pulley is. Paul O'Neill playing a very shallow right field with 2 strikes on Carney Lansford.
And a half swing, and Rijo should have time. Save, said the umpire. Boo, say the fans. First base umpire, Rocky Rowe, the American League umpire, and an infield hit for Lansford with 1 out. Well, what do you think before we see the replay? What did he say for out?
I think that ball may have hit the plate, and it appeared that Lansford had it beaten. Good call by Rocky Rowe. That ball hit the plate. That's why it went so high in the air, and Carney Lansford just beat that throw. Good call.
Yeah, that's the fun of the replay for you folks watching. You call it before we show you the replay. 1 on, 1 out, and a foul off the bat of Terry Steinbach. Being in this part brings back fond memories for this batter.
In 1988, he was the most valuable player in the All-Star game. The American League won that game, and Terry had a 2-run homer off Doc Gooden in that game, the MVP.
Lansford, 5 hits against the Red Sox in the postseason. Lansford, who stole 16 bases this year, gets back in time.
Here's that ball off the plate. We said that's why it had the height that it did, and because it hit the plate and not the dirt, Lansford has a hit, not an out.
Fly ball into short right, and O'Neill is there. They play the right fielder shallow on this Cincinnati club, and that's the 2nd out.
See, Lou Piniella was an outfielder. And outfielders know how to play and convey the information about how to play the outfielders better than anybody else. Lou, a right fielder, and you can see him right there moving the outfielders around.
And who did he tell us made him a fine outfielder?
Bill Verdon, ex-manager of the Yankees back in the middle 70s. He said he was the best instructor that he has ever had, and Bill Verdon was in uniform when the Reds beat the Pirates last Friday.
He was wearing the Pirate uniform. The batter is Willie Randolph, getting a chance to start. Al Morris saved that low throw. With Walt Weiss out, Gallego plays short. Randolph plays second base. Willie was 3 for 8 against Boston. Hits it hard into the corner. And Davis cuts it off and has a chance at third base. He is safe. He didn't get him. He didn't get him. They want to argue, and it's first and third, 2 out. Sabo not too vehement in his argument. Apparently he missed it.
Well, a lot of times when you're worried about catching the ball, you don't know where the runner is. And I think Lansford made an excellent play by going inside the line to avoid the tag. Not too many guys run on these outfielders. The Reds outfielders led in assists, led the majors. And with Sabo, had he caught the ball and made the slap tag immediately, he probably would have gotten Lansford. But look at the dive inside the line to be safe at third. An outstanding base running play by Carney Lansford.
You're right. And it ends up first and third, 2 out, and Sabo apparently missed it.
But I'll tell you one thing, you're not going to run a lot against this Cincinnati outfield. 4 assists during the National League Championship Series.
Here's Gallego at the plate, and a foul out of play, strike 1.
You've heard of change direction in football. You know, when the line goes one way, the quarterback hands it to the back, and he goes off the offside. That's a misdirection by Carney Lansford. Nice base running play by Carney.
And if the A's are to continue the inning, Gallego will have to do something. He was 4 for 10 against the Red Sox. And Rijo pumps a strike in there for strike 2. This batter takes a little ribbing about his size. He is 5'8", but he is a very effective player. And with Weiss out, he'll be playing shortstop throughout. Rio has 2 strikeouts. They pitch out, nothing happening. Carney Lansford had a 1-out single in this inning. He's at third, and a 2-out hard single to left by Randolph. He's at first. And the count 2-2. Looked like the umpire had the urge and then held up 2-2.
I tell you, it was interesting, the pitch out by Joe Oliver, probably relayed by Piniella, but he remembers game 3 of the playoffs when the Athletics pulled that double steal, and Terry Steinbach scored by knocking the ball out of the glove of Tony Pena.
2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and the third strikeout for Rio. Now runs, 2 hits, 2 left, an inning and a half, 2-0, Cincinnati. Stripes, and that emblem is being worn on all of the uniforms as a salute from baseball to the folks in our armed forces, and particularly to the men and women in the Persian Gulf. And we hope you enjoy these telecasts, which will be sent your way on the Armed Forces Network. Here is Chris Sabo looking at a breaking ball, strike 1 from Dave Stewart. And by the way, between innings, when the commercials are on, you folks in the Persian Gulf will be receiving video postcards from the folks back home. One and 1 to Sabo. Had a home run against Pittsburgh. Spins away from ball 2. A walk and a home run. And the Reds lead 2-0 in the second. Count goes to 3-1. Goodyear Blimp has this view to send you of Riverfront Stadium right on the Ohio River. Missed the outside part, and a leadoff walk, and the second pass by Stewart. Let's listen to Joe Oliver, the Cincinnati catcher, talking about Oakland.
Well, they got a great confidence. I guess you could almost call it an arrogance. To me, that's tough to compete with. They feel like they can do it at any time, any given situation. And when you get a team that knows that they can beat anybody at any time, it gets you motivated.
Runner going, and a hit-and-run foul ball out of play. So Lou Piniella, true to his word, he started the runner Sabo, who did steal 25 bases during the season.
I'll tell you, you see this Oakland ball club, and it's easy to think that they're arrogant and cocky. I mean, all of them are big. They look like football players, and they backed up everything. They're world champions. They beat Boston 4 in a row in 1988, and then because of a red-hot pitcher, Oral Hershiser, ran into a buzzsaw in the World Series that year. I tell you, they're good, they know it, and they can back it up.
And they're proud of what they've done.
Absolutely.
Oliver pumps it up, and that will be the first out of the inning. Foul ball, Steinbach.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're proud. What's perceived as arrogance by your opponent could be just a way of carrying your pride. And these guys carry their pride very well. They're very well prepared. They're disciplined. They're well trained. And that man right there, I don't think anybody is more prepared going into a baseball game and a series than Tony La Russa.
1 on, 1 out for Mariana Duncan. That leads us to point out that Bill Doran has had to miss this World Series because of a back operation, and Duncan will play full-time second base. Maybe we'll see Ron Oster. And ball 1 from Stewart, who pounds his fist into the glove. He's not quite doing what he wishes to do thus far. Duncan had a half-dozen hits and a home run against Pittsburgh. Runner leaning, not going, and pitch out. Ball 2.
And you'd think somebody who's as prepared as La Russa wouldn't take chances, but here's a 1-ball and no-strike pitch out when you're down by 2 runs. So he can fly by the seat of his pants, too. Got a great feel for what's going on the field.
Steinbach has had a look into the dugout. And the runner Sabo gets back. This first baseman, McGuire, by the way, deemed to be best defensive first baseman in the American League. First down, Mattingly has been in and out of the Yankee lineup. He's terrific also. Runner goes. Sabo doesn't argue. A terrific throw by Steinbach, and a quick tag which made the difference.
Yeah, that's the key, and that's what a catcher can do. If he releases it quickly, then he can allow the infielder and his quick hands to take care of the rest. Look how quickly Terry Steinbach gets rid of this ball. It's a high throw, but watch the slap tag by Gallego. Quick and sure.
And now the count goes to 3-1 to Duncan.
You're not really concerned with where it is. If it's on the bag, let the infielder have the chance to make the quick tag, and Gallego did.
Duncan fouls it to make it 3-2. The one thing that does, losing Sabo on the bases, if they get Duncan here, that has the pitcher leading off in the next inning. Cincinnati has only 1 hit. That was a 2-run homer by Eric Davis. Ball 4, the 3rd walk by Stewart, and that allows the pitcher to bat in this inning. Tony Perez talking with the runner. He's the first base coach. And there's Dave Duncan, the pitching coach of the Oakland A's. His pitcher has walked 3.
David, former catcher in the Oakland Athletics farm system, played with the Indians.
Ball 1 to the pitcher, Rijo, who is 0 for 5 against the Pirates in the playoff. and had 10 hits during the regular season. Hits it hard to short. Gallego force out. The inning's over. And that's the first man Cincinnati has left. We played 2. The Reds lead it 2-0. From the Goodyear Blimp America, the captain is Mark Kinnett from the Woodlands in Texas. This is the 30th year that the Goodyear Blimp has covered the World Series. And hi to you folks up there. I was talking with one of the Oakland A's about Dave Stewart's hitting. He said, no chance. 0-1, unless he walks.
Tony La Russa said Mike Moore is the best of the hitting pitchers. Dave Stewart told Jim Cott recently on an interview that there was not a tree big enough to make a bat that could get him to put the bat on the ball.
There's a strike from Rijo, 1-1.
But you know, here's a guy who signed with the Dodgers as a catcher back in 1975. But I guess that's why he became a pitcher, because he couldn't hit.
Chased him out to the mound. At least he's swinging 1-2. When you talk to Dave about his hitting, he'll smile. He doesn't smile on game night, though. Rio gets his 4th strikeout. Now, what's Pat O'Brien thinking about at this moment? Pat?
You know, Jack, it's a school night here in Cincinnati, and as it is elsewhere across the country. But when Mom and Dad have World Series tickets, you get to stay up late. And they probably don't even know this word, but tomorrow they'll be the envy of the class. They were at the World Series. Maybe take home a souvenir. We almost did. Back to you.
And that lady's tired too. She's yawning. So everybody in Cincinnati is focused on this World Series. Here is Henderson, called out on strikes, much to his dislike to start the game. He'll probably be swinging early, not to give the umpire another crack at him. Ball 1.
Hey, Ricky's got that real small strike zone. He gets a lot of pitches from the umpires because he does have that small strike zone. See what a pitcher has to pitch to? Out of that crouch. Here it is right here. Supposed to be from the letters to the knees by the time he gets in that crouch. Boy, he squeegees that thing up a lot.
There's a half swing and a foul, putting Ricky in the hole 1-2. Yeah, he makes you come to him, doesn't he?
Like pitching to an accordion.
And there's an A's fan.
See if Oliver goes back outside again. Slider away.
Too far away. 2-2. This is a right-handed hitting Oakland lineup, with only Willie McGee, a switch hitter, batting from the left side tonight. 2-2. A little bit up. 3-2.
The Athletics batted .277 against left-handed pitching, .246 against right-handers. The Cincinnati Reds have a similar disadvantage against right-handed pitching.
And another foul right over our head here, keeping the count 3-2.
Might have to bring the equipment up here tomorrow, I'll tell you.
So
Shin guards.
That's the third one they've shot at us up
Yeah.
here. What's coming on 3-2?
Fastball away.
Fly ball into left, and Eric Davis dives, and he dropped the ball. Henderson goes for second handily with 1 out. He had it, but the turf made him cough it up.
And I think that left shoulder of his may have had something to do with that. A healthy Eric Davis makes this play. You can see him grimacing in pain. Well, that left shoulder all taped up. He hurt it a couple of weeks ago when he ran into the wall. And I don't know if he ever had that ball cleanly, but he really hurts that shoulder when he dives on the turf, landing right on that shoulder. See, it hit the heel of the glove. It comes out. He never really had possession, but more importantly for the Reds, he could have re-injured that shoulder.
That's the third hit for Oakland. And Henderson, the runner at second, is terrific at stealing third. The batter is Willie McGee. And he hits it to second for Duncan. The runner to third, 2 out. Now Rijo can concentrate on the hitter. Let's see if he works from the stretch or the windup with Henderson at third base and 2 out. Rene Leitzman, the coach at third.
I don't think Ricky's going anywhere, not with Jose Canseco at bat. So if you're a pitcher here, just go ahead and wind up. If you want to go to the stretch, that's fine, but do what feels most comfortable. Don't let the runner at third dictate how you're going to pitch to Canseco.
I talked to Jose. I said, how do you pronounce your name? He said, Canseco, like kick the can. It's Canseco.
Like can do it.
Can do it. Tying run at the plate. Third inning, 2-0 Cincinnati. Ball one, and Rijo is working from the stretch. He doesn't want to worry about Henderson. Lou Piniella will watch this Rijo-Canseco battle, and Mark McGwire is on deck. 2 out. Ball 2. Well, would he prefer to pitch to McGwire with 2 on, 2 out, or is he going to challenge Canseco here? Missed again. 3-0, and he is swinging. You can bet on that, right, Tim?
Oh, I would think so. Yes, sir.
Jose has hit only 3 home runs in the last 49 games since the 3rd of August. He was swinging on 3-0 and chased a bad ball.
He was swinging at anything then. That was a slider away out of the strike zone. Canseco says, no walk for me.
That's a big boy. You're not going to walk me. 3-1. He did walk him, and that's the first given by Rijo. Tying runs are on base. At first and third, and Piniella wants to talk.
I think he wants to talk to Joe Oliver as much as he does Jose Rio. If the runner at first runs, what does Oliver do? Do you throw through with Ricky Henderson at third base? And if you don't throw through, you take the chance of the tying run potentially to get to second base.
You think they'll just let him go down there to second base?
I think they'll wait and let McGwire hit first. I don't think they'll run until the count's 0-2 or 1-2 when the count's unfavorable for McGwire to hit. If it's 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, something like that, I think he'll be given every opportunity to try to put the Athletics on top here.
McGwire fly to center his first time, and a foul on a breaking ball.
If he gets another quick strike, you can look for Canseco to be running 0-2, 1-2.
And one for Larkin. The inning's over. That's 4 left for Oakland early. We'll return to Riverfront Stadium after this word from your local station.
Well, nice view of downtown Cincinnati. I'm down below home plate here in our low home position, and part of the concern for the Cincinnati fans in that particular inning was when Eric Davis dove to try to catch that ball out in left field. Larry Starr right there working really on the finger more than the shoulder. Right there, you see the ball hit the heel of the glove, as Timmy pointed out, and he landed on the shoulder, but I think he also jammed that pinky finger a little bit. Nothing serious. Back up to Jack and Tim.
And to Barry Larkin. Ball 1 from Dave Stewart, who has walked 3 in the first 2 innings. Allowed only the 1 hit. A home run by Davis. Ball 2. Larkin from a wonderfully athletic family. And he attended the University of Michigan.
as did Hal Morris and Chris Sabo.
He missed ball 3. This is not the Dave Stewart that we know. Look where those kids are. High and the first base foul line. A couple of A's fans.
3 would-be catchers. They've got their caps turned around, huh?
Look at this from Dave Stewart, his 4th walk, and he puts a good base stealer on. And 4 straight bad pitches. He is not himself. You know, one of the things could be the pitching mound.
Maybe.
I'm sure it's not the pressure of the situation bothering him, but sometimes even the best don't perform at their best.
It could be the fact that this is his 6th day, too. The Athletics clinching last week against Boston. They had to wait for the series to start, of course, so this is his 6th day. He may be stronger, but his control has been off.
You're right about that. And the runner not going, and a bunt foul by Hatcher. I was talking with Stewart yesterday. Dave, how you feeling? And he said, I feel terrific. I never had a pitcher say that to me at this time of year. He said, but that extra time off, he said, I feel like a new man. And you might be right, Tim. Maybe too much time off.
He has won everything but the Cy Young Award, the MVP and the American League Championship Series.
Well, they tried the bunt. Will they switch to the hit and run? Nope. Ball high, 1-1. Formerly with the Mets, Sam Perlazzo giving the signs. Leadoff walk to Barry Larkin. Men on base in each half inning for Cincinnati.
Sometimes Lou Piniella, you saw Larkin look at Perez. Sometimes Lou Piniella will give the running signs to Tony Perez. Instead of the third base coach will be the decoy, and he'll give the running signs to Tony at first base. Whenever you see Larkin look at the first base coach, one time it'd be 1 wink. A wink would be the steal. 2 winks would be the hit and run.
Steinbach trying to learn all he can learn. Runner not going. Low and away. 2-1. In the playoff against Boston, this pitcher, Dave Stewart, in 16 innings, walked only 2. And he averages less than 3 walks per 9 innings during the regular season. Perfect hit and run count.
Indeed.
Runner not going. And that ball is fair. And the run will score. 3-0, Cincinnati. The runner goes to third. He's safe there. Nobody out.
One of the problems of falling behind is you have to come into the hitter, and this ball laced down the left field line. Watch that carom, how that ball just caroms from the left field corner in toward left center, and with nobody out, you've got to be sure, if you're the third base coach, Sam Perlazzo was sure, a double, an RBI, and a throwing error on Mike Gallego.
Runner at third and nobody out. That was the call. Error 6 allowed Hatcher to go to third. And ball 1 to Paul O'Neill, a strikeout victim his first time. Infield back at second and short. There's a strike.
I'll tell you, when a relay man like Gallego has to get rid of the ball quickly, a lot of times when he grabs the ball, that ring finger becomes involved. You see the throw by Gallego, he knows it has to be quick. And for that reason, I think that third finger was involved.
The runner is going to score. The out at first is 4-0. Good base running by Billy Hatcher.
Outstanding. That
It's a base running play that's designed to keep running when the pitcher keeps running. If the pitcher stops, you stop. With his back to you, if he keeps running, there's no way that he's going to recover fast enough to throw you out at home. Outstanding base running by Billy Hatcher.
Do you know that the Reds have scored 4 runs with only 2 hits? And Davis is up with the bases empty.
Yeah, those 2 walks scored, too. They usually do.
Breaking ball strike to Davis, who homered in the first with 2 out and a runner on. Strike. Billy Hatcher got the key double and then did some good base running. Had an RBI and scored a run. There's 1 out in this inning, and a breaking ball is hit into right field, and Canseco's there. 2 out. Cincinnati bench is alive. First game of the World Series here at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, right on the banks of the Ohio River. Eric Davis homer to the first with a man on. The Reds have scored 2 more here in the third to lead 4-0. Al Morris with a good swing with a foul, strike 1. Dave Stewart is not used to this sort of transpiring. He doesn't like it, you can tell.
6 postseason wins in a row.
Morris hits it to McGuire. To the pitcher, and the inning is over. 2 runs, 1 hit, 1 error. After 3, 4-0 Cincinnati.
Of Game 1 of the 1990 World Series is brought to you by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. Federal Express for documents, packages, and freight. The best way to ship it over there. And by AT&T, the right choice.
Here's that line drive foul ball that I caught.
Yeah. You charged it, right? Here's what we were talking about. When a ring finger becomes involved in a fielder when he's throwing the ball, what happens is the ball has a tendency to slip out of his hand, and we think that's what happened to Gallego. Fielders are taught to hold the ball with the seams and throw like that. Ring fingers are for exactly that, rings.
Lansford hit the first pitch to Sabo, and he's out at first in the 4th inning. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Sometimes you can just tell, as you see Mike Gallego right there, how the ball reacts out of his hand. You see the throw going toward the Athletic dugout, and I've got to believe that the ring finger, the 3rd finger, was involved, and that's why the throw wasn't on line, and that throw moving Hatcher to 3rd base, responsible for the 4th Cincinnati run.
That's what it cost him. The batter is Steinbach, and the Oakland catcher takes ball 1. He flied to right his first time. Perry rang up 5 hits against the Red Sox in postseason. Hits it foul out of play, 1-1. And the Cincinnati pitcher, Jose Rio, is getting along very, very well. The A's about hit Cincinnati 3-2. With the Reds lead 4-0. Oakland is going to get Todd Burns ready. Fly ball, foul out of play, 2-2, because their pitcher is due to bat 5th in this inning. So Tony La Russa has to deal with pinch hitters and so forth, and no DH tonight. A bad ball evens the count 2-2.
You saw Lou Piniella there. He is always aware of the depth of the opposite fielder. And with 2 strikes on the hitter, a hitter becomes more of a defensive hitter, not an offensive hitter. So that means he's not going to be able to hit the ball, generally speaking, that far the other way.
Breaking ball got Steinbach. That's a 5th strikeout. by the Oakland A's, and he has Perry talking to himself.
Yeah, see, you would never see a swing like this from a hitter with the count 2-0 and 1-0. That was a defensive swing. Terry was just trying to make contact, and that again is why you move that opposite fielder in.
Oakland is stranded 4. The first 2 have been retired here. Willie Randolph is up. And a strike to him, and a quick look back at the umpire. Here's Dave Stewart wondering how long he's going to stay in this game. The A's get a rally going. They'll lift him right here in this inning, but there are 2 up. Broken bat. Oh, look at that. Behind the knee. Hey, that's pretty cute, isn't it? I'll see that again. That's all for Oakland in the top of the 4th inning. Cincinnati will come to bat with Sabo to lead it off. Watch this cutie pie play here.
Rio Rojo Caliente.
Looking at what has transpired, Eric Davis hit a 2-out, 2-run home run in the first inning for a 2-0 lead, and then in the third, a walk, a double, an error, and an infield out. As Cincinnati on top here, 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th. Dave Stewart has walked 4, allowed 2 hits and pitches to Chris Sabo, and a foul back here. That's about 4 of them that have come whistling back up here. There's Eric Davis having a little problem with that right hand after diving into the turf. And Stewart blew that one right by Sabo. When you watch Stewart pitch, Tim, you see a lot of batters swing right through it. You wonder how in the world they didn't hit the ball.
Oh, he challenges you. I don't think there's any pitcher in either league that pitches right-handers inside as much as Stewart.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Leadoff man has been on base in 2 out of 3 innings for Cincinnati. But not this inning as Sabo goes down on strikes. The big blow in this game. After a walk to Hatcher in the first, this 2-out swing by this man, Eric Davis. And as Tim McCarver said, you could tell when he looked down that he knew it was gone. The batter is Oliver. Breaking ball. Ball 1 to Joe. He fouled out his first time. Well, Eric, you're out of your slump. Pop this one up for the second out. Who's going to get it? Third baseman Lansford. And there are 2 out. And the pitcher, Dave Stewart, will now try for his first 1-2-3 inning of the game.
We talked about his 6 consecutive victories. If he were to come back, if his team were to come back tonight and win this game, he would tie Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson had 7 consecutive victories in the 64, 67, and 68 World Series. Lefty Gomez, you see, was 6. Red Ruffing was 6. Pretty good company.
And a strike on the inside part to Duncan. He walked his first time. That really hurt Stewart because it allowed the pitcher to bat in that inning. That's through the hole with 2 out, and the pitcher will bat in this inning.
Tell you, the Reds were so productive in their number 2 and their number 8 holes this year. From the 8th hitting spot, they had 16 home runs and 84 RBIs. And their number 2 hitter batted .307. That is unusual production out of a lineup from the number 2 and 8 hole, but it shows you how balanced the Cincinnati lineup is.
And pretty well balanced left side, right side.
Uh-huh.
Here is Rijo. Hit into a force out his first time. He'll swing. He might even bunt, but they're aware of that because Lansford is looking right down his throat. Ball 1 to Jose. Jose is looking at the third base coach and saying, "What are you looking at me for?" Runner at first, 2 out. 1-1.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not. I think hitters look down at the third base coach out of habit. Here it is, 1-1. There's no sense in looking down there. You're hitting. 2 outs.
1-1, and Stewart steps off. Ron Schuler is one who has done some scouting for this Oakland team. And a bouncer to third, and that's where Lansford was playing in, guarding against the bunt, and the inning is over. Now the Reds have left 2, but after 4, they lead 4-0. Into the 5th inning of this game we go. The hits even, 3 apiece. The Reds leading 4-0. And this overhead view of Riverfront and the crowd, standing room only. There's Norm Charlton. He's likely first out of the bullpen tonight for the Reds, and all Cincinnati wants from Jose Rijo is a couple of more innings. Gallego, the number 8 hitter, leads it off, and his first time. All 1. And Rijo back with a strike. Gallego, the number 8 hitter in the lineup. And Rijo throws low. And we have Doug Jennings waiting on deck, and he will bat for Dave Stewart. And then we're going to have this new pitcher, and that is Todd Burns. Out of play, 2-2. So Stewart will be through after pitching 4 innings. Gave 4 runs, 3 hits. He walked 4. I'm sure that bothers him more than anything. And he had 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, and 2 of those walks scored. 1 in front of the Eric Davis homer and 1 in front of the double by Hatcher.
Fly ball for O'Neill. And 1 out. The Oakland club has yet to put their leadoff man on base. O'Neill's start in the playoff against Pittsburgh, some thought he'd be the MVP, but he wasn't.
I tell you, that is one of the keys in baseball. First strike, first out. When the first batter gets on base, he scores 51% of the time. When he gets on base with 1 out, it's cut to 16% of the time. That's a 35% difference. Major difference in allowing that first runner on and then having him on with 1 out.
And Rijo has retired the leadoff hitter in all 5 innings. Doug Jennings is at the plate. And ball went inside. This Ohio River is busy beyond the stadium. The river boats flying up and down. There's some restaurants that are moored there. There's a strike according to plate umpire Frank Pulley, 1-1. That's all they want from this guy is this inning and the 6th. They'll take more, but they want 6 innings from Rijo. That's the way the Reds play it. Jennings is in the hole.
Jennings selected by the Athletics in the 1987 Rule 5 draft. That's the minor league draft at the winter meetings. Batted .192 and 156 at bats this year with a couple of home runs. Crowd wanted that call but didn't get it. We're in the 5th, 4-0 Cincinnati. Jennings gets a base hit and a right. That's the 4th hit for the visiting Oakland club. Oh, the pinch hitter came through. Doug Jennings 5 for 14 now in postseason play. He was 4 for 13. Had the 2 homers in the American League Championship Series. A double, 3 RBIs.
And Ricky Henderson will come up with Jennings out at first, being held by Hal Morris.
I said the American League Championship Series. Actually, that was against the Red Sox during the season. I beg your pardon.
He came through at the right time for Oakland, and Ricky took ball one. Blistering fastball from Rijo. Well, depending on what Henderson does, Willie McGee may turn out to be a key man in this frame. Batter calls time. Ricky had 28 home runs during the season. 1 on, 1 out. Maybe a double play ball, but Henderson can run, and he is safe at first. There was little chance to get him in the first place, and Ricky is on a fielder's choice. 2 out in the inning.
You know, the one thing about Ricky Henderson, he is an outstanding base runner, but from home to first, his big swing inhibits him from going full speed to first base. He goes as fast as he can, but it takes him time to get kind of uncoiled to get going back toward first base. That long swing, that's why he has so much power, 28 home runs this year. But he doesn't run from home to first nearly as fast as from first to second or second to third.
Well, we know he can run, and McGee hits a foul. Strike one. Willie is grounded to short, grounded to second.
936 career stolen bases, 2 behind Lou Brock to break the all-time record.
Why did he do it this year?
I thought he'd let things settle over the winter. I mean, here's a guy 31 years old. He could end up with 1,500 stolen bases. Conceivably.
He's not taking a very big lead at all. Well, Cincinnati has chased Dave Stewart. In the last 10 postseason games, Stewart had pitched at least 6 innings in each of those. So they got to him early, and they got him out of here. Lou Piniella is like most managers. You get a fellow like Henderson at first, there's not a heck of a lot you can do about it. Just forget about it. Work on the batter, particularly here with 2 out.
Yeah, with a 4-run lead. And I think that's what Joe Oliver and Barry Larkin, even though Larkin is not the captain of this club, he's the unofficial captain of this club. And that's what they're talking about right now. Saying, look, Jose, you've got a 4-run lead. Just get the hitter.
At the conclusion of this game, Tim McCarver and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game. Chevrolet will then donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. Well, that's what they probably told Jose. Get the better. There goes Henderson. And a base hit by McGee. Ricky goes on to third. And Canseco's coming up with 2 on, 2 out. And we have a moment here. Now, that's what happened when they started the runner. Larkin left. I don't think he could have commanded that ball by McGee anyhow.
Well, you know, I'm not too sure. I mean, he left his position. You've got a 4-run lead. Now, I know your instincts tell you to try to, there you can see Larkin going toward the bag. Your instincts tell you to try to go to the bag to get the runner. But Henderson was such a tremendous jump that by vacating the position, you certainly have no chance.
Well, here we go with Rio against Canseco. First and third, 2 out. Enjoy this scene. And a big swing and a throw and a save by the first baseman, Hal Morris. Trying to get McGee. Canseco has struck out and walked. You saw Morris dig it out of the dirt. Missed outside, 1-1. Top of the 5th, first and third, 2 out, 4-0 Cincinnati, and 1-1 on Canseco. Ball 2. They kind of pitched around to Canseco in the 3rd inning and got McGuire. The runner at third base is Ricky Henderson. And Willie McGee, a real flyer also, is at first. All of the outfielders very deep with this batter up there. very, very deep are Davis, Hatcher, and O'Neill. Trying to cut down on the extra base hit if Canseco connects.
Play the big guys deep and the little guys shallow. And this guy's a big guy.
Well, they wanted 2 more innings out of Rijo, but they are warming up Scott Scudder in the Cincinnati bullpen. 2 on, 2 out. Strike, 2-2.
Four-run lead and a 2-1 slider that freezes Canseco.
Runner going. Ball 3-0. Throw, a stolen base for McGee. And now it's 3-2 to Canseco. And a base hit would mean a couple. A home run will make it a 1-run game. They have a base open. McGuire next. And Piniella chomps on the chewing gum. Outside, he walked him. That is the second walk by Rijo, both given to Canseco. And the bases are loaded 2 out, and the tying run comes to the plate. And the batter will be Mark McGuire. He could tie it up in a blink.
And don't forget the Athletics with Ricky Henderson running. Larkin vacating the whole base hit to left, the stolen base, and now the walk.
Now ball 1 to this batter.
So even when the Athletics were behind by 4 runs, they kept the running game intact. That's something that would never have been in effect 20 years ago, but Tony La Russa realizes, and it's almost an innovation of modern-day baseball as you see Stan Williams, the pitching coach, going to the mound to talk to Rijo, that you play the same game when you're behind. And I think baseball has really changed for the better, that guys who can run continue to run regardless of the score. If those are their weapons, continue to use those weapons. And here, the Cincinnati Reds are in trouble because of the Athletics continuing to use the speed as one of their weapons. And that man right there opened things up, and one of the key reasons the bases are loaded now.
And they are with 2 out. And a ball 1 count to Mark McGuire. Rijo working from the stretch. Strike to the batter, 1-1. Big moment here in the first game of the series. 2 balls and a strike. Ricky Henderson at third. Willie McGee on at first. 3 fast runners, including Canseco at first. Popped him up. Second baseman wants it. And now Oakland has left 7. And after 4.5, they still trail 4-0.
By Major League Baseball.
Riverfront Stadium, and the hometown crowd is enjoying this a good deal more than the Oakland fans. The Reds lead 4-0, though they've been out hit 5-3. And not only that, Cincinnati has chased Dave Stewart from the game, and Todd Burns takes over. 3-3 with 3 saves during the season. Tim McCarver and Jack Buck with you. We'll be here tomorrow night. Day off for travel on Thursday, and Oakland Coliseum come Friday night. This is the first postseason appearance this year for Todd Burns. And he'll face the top of the order, Barry Larkin. In the dirt. Larkin is flied out, walked and scored. This gentleman's watching TV. How are you, sir? Nice to chat with you.
He's looking at himself on television. Look at that.
Give us
some reaction, huh?
Give him a microphone. We can talk. Here's one, a pop fly for the second baseman. Willie Randolph. 1 out.
I'll tell you, 2 years ago, a limping wonder walked to home plate at Dodger Stadium. Everybody remembers.
From Eckersley, Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! A home run for Gibson. And the Dodgers have won the game 5-4. I don't believe what I just saw.
And it's Billy Hatcher, ball 1.
And I still don't believe what we just saw after that great call of yours 2 years ago.
I was so shocked. I was thinking about Gibson. Here's another hit for Hatcher. He doubled previously. This is his 3rd time on base, and it's another double. This one with 1 out. Billy Hatcher starring tonight.
This looks like a replay of Hatcher's last hit. Almost in the identical spot. Look at Carney Lansford playing in. And Hatcher with an easy double. He had 28 during the year, and Lou Piniella thinks that third base is the easiest base to steal. So what Todd Burns has to do is keep an eye on Hatcher.
With 1 out, and O'Neill at the plate. O'Neill 0 for 2 with an RBI. And Todd Burns and his catcher are going to talk it over. Tim, going back to that Gibson home run, tying run at second, 2 out, bad knee and all, I thought, and against Eckersley, he just hit it up the middle or go the other way, and the home run was the furthest thing from my mind in '88.
His only at bat in the series, and the Dodgers went on to win in 5. Unbelievable.
That's what the Reds are trying to do here, shock Oakland tonight. Pitch goes low.
Tonight it was Eric,
O'Neill.
excuse me, Jack, tonight it was Eric Davis who shocked the Athletics early.
Strike call. Looked like Hatcher to me was trying to measure a running start from second base.
Yeah, we talked about Cincinnati stealing third. They attempted to steal third more than any other team in the major leagues, 46 times this year.
2 balls and a strike to Paul O'Neill.
Give you some idea of how many times that is. The Oakland Athletics only tried to steal third 34 times, and that's with Ricky Henderson stealing 65 bases.
Shortstop Gallego trying to keep Hatcher close. Outside to the batter, 3-1 with 1 out. That's Hatcher. He has walked, scored, double, driven in a run and scored. And doubled again. What a night he's having. Ball 4 to O'Neill, and that is the 5th walk given to the Reds to go with their 4 hits. Who's up? Who's up with 2 on, 1 out? Eric Davis. We could make a shambles of this game as far as Oakland's concerned. And La Russa knows that. Davis has homered and flied to right. Oakland wants the double play to bail out of this 5th inning. Now the second baseman has to keep the runner close. The shortstop cannot do so. That's ball 1. With Davis up there, the infield plays him to pull. The outfield straight away. The shortstop can't keep Hatcher close. Into left field. They bring Hatcher home. And he is safe, and it's 5-0. Davis has driven in 3 of the 5. O'Neill stopped at second.
Todd Burns trying to come in on Davis with that sinking fastball. But again, when you fall behind in the count, and you have to come into the strike zone to major league hitters, you are asking for trouble. The throw by Henderson not nearly strong enough, and Hatcher scores easily.
Early visit to the mound by LaRussa.
See Hatcher take off immediately. He didn't have to wait. The ball was hit high enough to where there was no danger of Gallego making the play, and Hatcher taking off immediately and scores easily. Third RBI for Eric Davis.
How about these Reds? 5 runs on 5 hits with the help of 5 walks plus an error.
Little help from my friends.
And Gene Nelson cranks it up. This is what happens when you get rid of a starter like Stewart. There's Eric Davis. He and Hatcher have been burning things up tonight.
Even though I'll tell you that Oakland Athletic middle relief corps really underrated and unheralded. They are outstanding.
Al Morris, strike to him. LaRussa went out and told Burns what he wanted. There's Billy Hatcher, a walk, 2 doubles, 3 runs scored, and an RBI. One ball, 1 strike. First and second, 1 out. This batter really strides into the ball. You see his right foot. It ends up very close to the plate when he swings. Breaking ball, and he fouled it. 1-2, and Morris sprays the ball around the park.
Morris almost has the ability to hit with his feet mobile. He really steps into the ball literally. He moves his back foot and his front foot. There's not just the one stride into the ball. Look at the unusual way that Hal Morris moves his feet when he approaches the hitting position.
Inside to even at 2-2. Doing a little tap dance in the batter's box. I'll bet Todd Burns didn't expect to be in this game in the 5th inning with Dave Stewart starting. 2 on, 1 out. 3-2. And leading 5-0, they'll probably start the runner.
Absolutely.
O'Neill at second, Davis at first. They're on the move. And it avoids the double play. And it's second and third, 2 out. It would have been a double play had the runners not been going, 2 out.
You take more chances when you're ahead. This ball is scorched to second base. Runners running. You can see O'Neill and Davis. And the only play Willie Randolph has is to first base to easily get Morris. But no question, that's a double play had they not been running.
They're going to pitch to Sabo, but he'll probably have to fish for something to hit. With first base open, ball 1, and Joe Oliver, another right-handed batter, but a lesser hitter coming up next. Sabo has walked and fanned. Up the middle. McGee can throw, but not this time. 2 more runs. It's 7-0.
Watch how Sabo goes down and gets this slider. That's how Pittsburgh got him out. Piniella has helped him.
There's a base hit by Oliver. There goes the runner to third. He is safe at third with 2 out.
Going to say Lou Piniella has helped Chris Sabo stay back on the ball. Joe Oliver going to right field. I think you could clearly see that something was wrong with Jose Canseco's throwing hand when he threw that ball to third base. Jose normally with an outstanding arm. He almost pushed that ball to third base. Watch this throw by Canseco. Normally a much stronger arm and a much closer play. Not even close.
Here comes Tony La Russa. And here comes a new man from the bullpen. It's Gene Nelson. The Reds have made 7 runs on 7 hits and lead 7-0. That's what Nelson has done in postseason, netting in 2/3 during the regular season, 3-3 with 5 saves. First and third, 2 out, 3 runs home in the 5th. Reds leading 7-0. And the batter is Mariano Duncan, ball 1. Over at third base, it is Chris Sabo. And at first base, Joe Oliver. At the plate, Duncan. He has walked and singled. I was surprised earlier they let Sabo hit the ball with first base open, even though Oliver did come through with a base hit.
Well, I mean, you know that when you're trailing by 5 runs, there's not a lot you can do. Oliver did get the hit, but what they wanted Sabo to do was to hit a tough pitch, and he hit a tough pitch. I mean, he really went down and got that ball. Sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the hitter.
7 runs, 7 hits, fly ball to deep left by Duncan. Henderson back at the track, and that ends the inning. It is 3 more runs for Cincinnati. On 3 hits, they leave 2. They've left 4. Will return to Riverfront Stadium after this word from your local station.
7-0 Cincinnati. We go to the top of the 6th inning. Jose Canseco bothered by that tendonitis on the middle finger. And the one thing it'll affect is the way you throw the ball. You've got to have touch and feel, whether you're a pitcher or an outfielder. And even though the finger is the best that it's been, watch the tentative throw that Timmy referred to. Just not the strong, accurate throw we're used to seeing from Canseco. No feel in that middle finger. Back to Jack and Tim.
Ernie Lansford starts it with a base hit here in the 6th inning. His 2nd hit of the night. And don't count this Oakland club out. They won 103 games this year. And they know how to handle adversity as well as victories. There's the bench, and tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBS, Game 2 of the World Series. And the starters, Bob Welch, the 27-game winner for Oakland, against Danny Jackson, 6-6 for the Reds. Tomorrow night on CBS, the runner going. What do you think of this? A stolen base for Lansford. I guess Carney knows the score is 7-0.
Well, no surprise when Ricky Henderson takes off with the score 4-0. But a big surprise when Carney Lansford takes off with the score 7-0. First pitch, hook slide. It looked like he slid into the glove of Barry Larkin. Watch this. Watch his left foot. Nope, he got it out of the way.
He sure did.
Good
and he's
call.
Safely at second, nobody out, and a foul ball by Steinbach, and they're going up there swinging.
Tell you, that hook slide, though, you just don't get to the base as quickly as a straight-in slide. That's really a slide that is not in vogue nearly as much now as it was 25 years ago.
0 for 2 is Steinbach. And the count 1-1 on him. Now this gentleman harkens back to 61.
Yankees beat the Reds in the World Series in 5 games.
Here should be the first out of the inning. Duncan throws to get the Oakland catcher. 1 out. And the runner to third. Steinbach is 0 for 3. Willie Randolph is 1 for 2. Seven to nothing, Cincinnati, 6th inning. A chopper foul. Of course, with the lead such as it is, the Reds are playing deep and willing to give up a run for an out. Single by Lansford leading off in the 6th, stolen base. Move to third on the infield out and watches strike 2 go into Randolph.
You know, I look around the stadium, and I don't think I've ever seen as many banners at Riverfront Stadium as I'm seeing here tonight. This is not necessarily a banner stadium. Banner town, they're having a banner year, granted, but you don't see a lot of banners here in this ballpark. And you certainly don't see that guy at this time of year, do you?
We've been here for a long time, haven't we?
This guy took a left when he should have taken a right.
1-2 to Randolph. Just missed 2-2. Rijo would like to get through this 6th, and that's when the Reds frequently go to their bullpen in the 7th inning. Charlton, Dibble, and Myers. And another foul keeps it 2-2. Willie Randolph, we'll see a lot of him in this series at second base. With Walt Weiss missing at the shortstop position for Oakland. Gallego playing there. Willie trying to get the run home. And a pop fly into short right for O'Neill. The runner tags but doesn't come. 2 out.
Yeah, you just can't take chances like that when you're trailing by 7 runs, especially with Paul O'Neill in right field. We mentioned earlier 47 assists for the Cincinnati outfielders, the most in the major leagues this year, and they added 4 more in the championship series, and there it is right there. You don't run on these guys. Also, the fewest errors, only 10. So they know how to play the outfield.
Runner at third, 2 out. Fly ball for O'Neill to chase, and he has it, and Oakland still hasn't scored. Now the A's have stranded 8 while being shut out. Bottom of the 6th, 7-0 Cincy. From the Goodyear Blimp America, captained by Mark Kinnett. The captain is from the Woodlands, Texas. The Goodyear Blimp covering the World Series from up above. Jose Rijo gets a big hand as he walks to the plate. He's 0 for 2, but he has shut out Oakland on 6 hits in 6 innings. Gene Nelson, base hit. Hey, Jim Cott, what do you think about Rijo staying in the game and the bullpen not being employed at this stage?
Well, man, I'm all for it, Jack. I mean, the guy's got a shutout going and gets a base hit. I think sometimes you can reach a little far, maybe, if you take a pitcher out of a game who's got it going like Rijo. He looks just fine from here. Save the nasty boys till later.
Those pitchers stick together, Tim.
Well, I don't know, Kitty. I'm going to have to disagree. I know this isn't any counterpoint or anything like that. But if you're going to start, if this series goes to 7 games, Rio's going to have to start twice on 3 days rest. He's only done it twice this year. He did it once in the LCS.
Oh, we'll see what comes of it. Rijo not only stayed in the game and hit, but got a hit. And strike 1 to Barry Larkin, who was 0 for 2 with a walk. Blame it on Rijo. Earlier, Tim said Rijo is rojo, red caliente, red hot, and he is. He's having a big night here, as are Hatcher and Davis. Two balls and a strike.
I know Kitty's point. If Rijo has only thrown, say, 90 pitches, 95 pitches with a shutout going, what's the difference in 95 and 130? If you could somehow gauge that and say that if he throws 130, he'd be less effective 3 days from now, then I think Lou would take him out, but not now.
Rijo is out, and so's the batter on a dandy play by Willie Randolph. What a good play by Randolph. Larkin is retired on the 4-3 double play here in the 6th.
Boy, that's a terrific play by a seasoned veteran right there. 42 postseason games. This is his 43rd. Only Davy Lopes and Joe Morgan have played more games at second base in the postseason, and he's never made an error.
And he wouldn't let Rijo tangle with him. He let him go by, tagged him, and cleared the runner and got the batter. Wonderful play.
You talk about a classy act. The ex-Yankee captain Willie Randolph.
Billy Hatcher is up. Well, what else is he going to do? He's walked, doubled, scored 3 runs, and driven in a run. Gene Nelson, the 3rd pitcher of the night, throws high. Stewart gave up 4 runs. Todd Burns gave up 3. 1-1. And 3 of the people walked by the Oakland pitchers have scored here tonight. Makes a big difference. And another strike. This Oakland club does not have a one-man bullpen. This pitcher is working out there now. Gene Nelson has been very effective for the club all season. And Hatcher fouls it out of play to keep it 1-2. And a good play by a fan. They call this the Queen City of Ohio. We'll look at the downtown area with a new office building in the forefront. It's a nice town, and people had a big rally today at noon. 7,000 people downtown. Hatcher stays up there.
That's how the scoring got underway tonight. Eric Davis going downtown on Dave Stewart. He didn't go that far downtown, however.
And that's what started all of this. There's Eric, a 2-run, 2-out home run in the 1st. He's also had another hit and a run batted in. Hatcher. What a good play by Lansford, but another base hit for Hatcher. He's on base for the 4th time. He's 3 for 3.
I think instead of starting blocks in track, what they should have is a batter's box. Because, see, when you smell a hit, you run faster. And if more track guys had something to do with baseball, if you put a batter's box there and let them run the 100-yard dash, they'd get there quicker. Because when guys smell that hit, I guarantee you, they can get to first in a hurry.
Hatcher was hustling. O'Neill's the batter. He is 0 for 2 with a walk, a run scored, and a run batted in. Reds are leading here 7-0, 6th inning, and they about hit the A's 9-6. Two hits in this inning, giving up by Nelson. He's behind on the count, 3-0. Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. On the banks of the Ohio, and there's our line score. Game 2 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock here on CBS, 8 Eastern. Welch against Danny Jackson. And a walk to O'Neill. There have been 2 hits and a walk in this inning. So it's Bob Welch and Danny Jackson tomorrow night. There's Bob, a 27-game winner this year. Eric Davis is up. I've been here earlier in the year when they've been booing him, but not tonight. He's 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, and he has 2 on, 2 out. Ball 1.
See, I think the boos come from when you sign a new contract. I think people think you should immediately justify the contract you just signed. If you make $3 million a year, you should be playing like a $3 million player. And he's being paid on what he did, not on what he's doing.
2-0 as Nelson struggles.
That's what happens with players like Davis. They sign big contracts, and most of the time, the reason they don't do it is they're trying too hard, not hard enough. Not trying too hard enough. I guess that was clear.
They got him this time, and Gallego steps on the base, and the Reds lead 2. They have left 6. We've played 6. Cincinnati leads it 7-0.
There's the Dominican dandy, and I'm telling you, he was the toughest right-handed pitcher that I faced, Juan Marichal. He is doing the Spanish radio to 50 million people. They're being broadcast to over 60 countries, and he is the father-in-law of Jose Rijo. And what a proud papa-in-law he must be tonight.
Here is Ron Hasse, a left-handed batter, pinch hitting for Nelson. We'll see Hasse catching Bob Welch tomorrow night. Rijo has a 6-hit shutout going.
Oh, baby.
And it's 7-0 Cincinnati. And ball 1 to the pinch hitter. There's Rob Dibble in the bullpen waiting to see how Rijo gets along here at the start of the 7th. Hasn't started to throw yet. And a foul, a good swing by Hasse, 1-1.
Look at this. The Oakland Athletics, when leading after 6 innings, have won 79 of 83. The Cincinnati Reds lead the National League, winning 74 of 80 when leading after 6 innings. So they wrap it up with that bullpen in a hurry.
Yeah, we know why. Hasse leading off, pops it up to O'Neill and right. 1 out in the 7th inning. I guess Lou Piniella is going to go down the line with Rijo as long as he has this shutout going, as Jim Cott suggested earlier.
Well, if that's the case, why is Dibble warming up? Because I would think that with a guy like Dibble who throws so hard, that you're not going to warm him up unless he's going in the ball game.
Yeah, don't waste him out there.
Yeah, right. Here's a guy who could shake hands with you and throw the next pitch 93 miles an hour.
Ricky Henderson, the batter. Ball 1. If you were warming up Dibble in the bullpen, would you wear a mask?
I would wear more than that, Jack.
Henderson has 1 for 3, a double. Ricky gets his 2nd hit of the night. Boy, what a good player he is. Whew. And he'll probably be running despite the score.
Sure.
7-0. He swiped while he was running earlier.
Well, the Athletics will have the Cy Young Award winner, Bob Welch, in all likelihood. The MVP and Ricky Henderson. He could do so many things. Many feel that he's the best leadoff hitter of all time, and I'm one of those many.
Oh, yeah. I would throw in with you there. Best leadoff hitter of all time.
That's saying something.
There have been a lot of them. So it's 1 on, 1 out in the 7th inning. And the batter, Willie McGee. That might be a double play. They got 1. Yep. 4-6-3. That's all in the Oakland 7th, and they still trail 7-0.
Coverage of Game 1 of the 1990 World Series is brought to you by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Nike, who reminds you to just do it. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when.
The score here is 7-0. Bottom of the 7th inning. There's the line score. Started with the Eric Davis home run in the 1st inning, and then the Reds 2 more in the 3rd, and 3 more in the 5th inning against Todd Burns. That kid's wearing both hats. He'll go either. He's like that kid with the 2 hats is like a hitchhiker in a bad town. He'll go either way. On the bench for the A's, Blankenship, Bordick, the new infielder, because Walt Weiss is out, and Dave Henderson, and Baines and Jamie Quirk. But that bench, Tim, is rather nullified with a 7-0 score.
That's right. Too many, too quick tonight for the Reds. 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, and 3 in the bottom of the 5th. And Scott Sanderson. Look at the year Scott Sanderson had. Had probably his finest year with the Oakland Athletics, signing on as a free agent. The Cubs let him go last year, and he signed as a free agent and had a fine year. Big overhand curveball, This is his best pitch.
This Oakland organization goes out and gets what they need. They spend money.
Well, think about it. They signed Mike Moore 2 years ago. They traded for Ricky Henderson last year in the middle of the year. They gave him a big contract. And when they needed 2 left-handers this year before the September 1st deadline, they went out and got Willie McGee and Harold Baines.
College football Saturday on CBS. Penn State battles Boston College. That's live at noon. And then at 3:30, it is Miami traveling to Notre Dame. Miami number 2, Notre Dame number 6. There is a base hit by Hal Morris to start the 7th inning, and he greets Scott Sanderson in rude fashion. So on CBS next Saturday, we'll have Penn State, Boston College, Notre Dame, Miami, Oakland, and the Cincinnati Reds.
A lot of stuff. Good stuff.
Gene Nelson pitched an inning and a third. No runs. Gives way to Sanderson, the 4th pitcher. This fellow's a breaking ball pitcher. And Sabo is up. He is singled home 2 runs. And given a walk, he's 1 for 2. It's all Reds here tonight. Ball 2 from Sanderson. Ice cream on a pleasant evening here. A youngster enjoying the game in an ice cream truck. That's ball 3. Leadoff hit by Hal Morris. Anderson drops a strike in there. Base hit by Morris was his first and the 10th for the Reds. Runner going. Foul 3-2. And I guess we've seen the last of Jose Rijo, because with Sabo batting here, nobody out in the 7th inning. Rob Dibble starts to crank it up again. In fact, he's been warming up and he's ready now. Runner at first is going again. And a shot into center field for McGee. He gets it. Tries to double the runner at first base with a good throwing arm, but the runner is back in time. McGee can throw. 1 out.
I'll tell you, one of the proudest cities in the country tonight, Tampa, Florida, because they have spawned 2 guys in this World Series matchup that are both from Tampa. Not only that, they played Legion ball together, post 248 in the Tampa area, and they lost in the finals in Miami. And what did Tony tell us? Said that was one of the worst things. He still remembers it, 1959.
In the Legion final, ball 1 to the batter, Oliver. Both of those fellas, LaRussa and Pinella, are good friends of a friend of ours, Art Pepin, down there in Tampa.
And Al Lopez.
And Senor Lopez.
Senor, yes, sir.
What a grand gentleman. Tampa loves the Nasty Boys.
They got a tough time rooting tonight. Tampa's got 2 representatives heading both these fine ball clubs.
2-0 the count. Well, it's starting to become apparent that you Oakland fans out there are going to have to root your club on when you greet them on Friday. Game 2 here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern on CBS, then the day off, and then the action Friday in the Oakland Coliseum. And a big swing by Oliver, 2-1. So this is not going to be an automatic victory for Oakland. They're favored coming in, and they should be. There's Eric Davis who will have to be contended with. If he keeps hitting, there's no telling what's going to happen in this series. Morris at first, 1 out. Breaking ball from Sanderson evens the count 2-2. Eric's happy tonight. Well, the fans come alive. They want more than 7. Breaking ball and maybe a double play. Gallego bobbles it. They get 1, they get 2. And the inning is over. 6-4-3. We played 7 innings at Riverfront Stadium. 7-0 Reds. Here comes Dibble. Folks like to watch Rob Dibble pitch against Jose Canseco. This should be fun as we go into the 8th inning. 7-0 Cincinnati.
I really should. It doesn't matter what the score. Rob Dibble against Jose Canseco. 2 big guys, one who throws hard and one who hits hard. This is fun right here.
They'll both cut it loose. Strike. Dibble's been in 4 postseason games. 5 innings, no hits, struck out 10. Canseco 0 for 1 with 2 walks tonight. 1-1.
Dibble retired 15 of the 16 Pittsburgh Pirates he faced. The only guy who got on was on a walk. He is one of the nasty boys, Rob Dibble.
Fly ball to center field, and Hatcher goes back. 1 out. Hey, Jim Cott, do you have a line on Rob Dibble?
Yeah, he's still driving in the school zone, Jack. He only had that about 94, 95. He doesn't have it cranked up at highway speed yet, but it's quick enough.
94. I'm glad I'm up here.
What school is that, Kitty?
School of high heat.
There's 1 out in the 8th, and the batter's McGuire. Here's another big swinger, another big strike. And Lou Piniella was talking with us tonight. He said the amazing thing about Dibble, as hard as he throws, is that he does throw strikes. And there's another one. I bet that kid should hit him. That's low. What does the radar show now, James?
Well, he's out of the city, Jack and Tim, in the last couple, 98 and 99.
2-2. Well, if he knew you were clocking him and reporting on him, he'd probably send it up to the century mark. There's Bill White. He could hit the fastball. 3-2. His counterpart is Dr. Bobby Brown, longtime Yankee star, president of the American League. 3-2 to McGuire, who is 0 for 3. And he walked him. I told you he'd throw strikes. 1 on, 1 out.
Oh, Rob Dibble, Jack and Tim, I think Timmy's point was well taken. Lou Piniella wants to bring Rio back on 4 days, and I think a chance also to give Dibble an inning of experience in World Series play. That first appearance, I think, is always important. Get your feet wet. Piniella going to take that opportunity right here in addition to resting Rio back upstairs.
Here's Carney Lansford. He's had 2 hits and a stolen base tonight. Oh, that's something to watch that Dibble throw.
Well, they say heat rises. And if there's any heater that rises more than a Rob Dibble fastball, I know house heat does it. I mean, this guy can blow. There's nothing fancy.
No.
Fastball, slider, and both are about the same speed.
1 on, 1 out. Half swing and a foul, strike 2. Jim Cott is on the field level, and he's watching Dibble and clocking those pitches, so we'll get reports from him. And it is getting a little cooler here at the park as Cott dons the raincoat. 0-2 to Carney Lansford.
See, that's the reason Piniella brings in Dibble. It's getting a little cold, so he brought him in with the heater, right? I mean, he is throwing hard, and Lou knows it and loves it.
7-0 Cincinnati, 8th inning. 1 on, 1 out. Just blowing away 1-2. You folks are probably aware of the story. He wants to be a finisher with another club or play this role with this team and get more money next year. 2-2. Dibble's problem is that he's rather new to the big leagues and he hasn't yet become eligible for arbitration, and that's when the big money comes into play. He lost McGuire after being ahead on the count. And Carney Lansford flies it out to center field to Hatcher for the second out. Swinging gone. Hatcher in center having a good night with the glove and with the bat. Lansford 2 for 4 now. At the plate is Terry Steinbach. He's 0 for 3. And the second baseman can't get it. Steinbach gets his first hit, and there are 2 on, 2 out.
So that's the first hit in postseason play off Rob Dibble. First time they've had 2 runners on base against Dibble. This is his 5th game.
At the moment, this is an 8-hit shutout, plus 3 walks. Oakland has left 8, so this could be a lot different than the 7-0 score that we have.
There it is, Terry Steinbach hitting the high fastball away from him, just over the outstretched glove of Mariano Duncan.
There are 2 on, 2 out. Willie Randolph, ball 1, and it bent the glove back of Oliver. We'll see how they rule on that. As McGuire gets over to third and Steinbach down to second.
Everybody talks about how catchers reach with that new mitt. As you see Randy Myers warming up, he'll probably be the pitcher in the 9th inning. There's no way that catchers can get in front of balls thrown that hard. I mean, you got a 92-mile-an-hour slider. I guarantee you that ball's on top of you. You've got to reach to be a catcher. Bill Dickey, back in the late 50s, said you're not a good catcher until you become a one-handed catcher. And that was really before the era of the breaks in the glove.
Now to Randolph, a strike, and that blistered in there. You saw him in the dugout waving in Paul O'Neill out in right field. He is playing shallow out there with Randolph up. Willie is 1 for 3. As the A's try to get the goose egg off the scoreboard. Shortstop Larkin waits. Throws, and the shutout is still going. And now Oakland has left 10. And they trail 7-0.
This game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
And Dave Stewart was chased. He gave up the first 4 runs in the game. Eric Davis with a home run in the first with a man on and another base hit, driving in yet another run. And it's all Cincinnati as they lead 7-0. And a new pitcher for Oakland, and their 5th of the night, is Dennis Eckersley. Jim Cott, why him?
Well, I think part of the same reason that Rob Dibble's in, the Reds have a big lead. He's getting his feet wet and holding the lead. Dennis Eckersley hasn't pitched in about 6 days. Tony La Russa is saying, hey, I'm going to need this guy sharp before the series is over. Let's get him an inning right now.
Okay, bottom of the 8th inning. 7-0 Cincinnati. And Eckersley pitching to Mariano Duncan at the strike on the corner, and he can paint. Eckersley's control record is astounding.
It's scary. It is.
Foul ball by Duncan, who has had a hit and a walk, 1 for 2. This year, he walked 4 batters, 1 of them intentionally. And last year, he walked 3 batters.
Guess he's slumping this year.
And he gets a strikeout of Duncan. Well, Rob Dibble is through after pitching 1 inning, giving up a hit and a walk. Todd Benzinger will bat for him. Switch hitter. And in the bullpen, Randy Myers will work the 9th.
He'll work the 9th for the same reason as Jim said, that Dennis Eckersley is working the 8th just to get the work.
Bendinger hits it hard to McGee, and that's the second out of the inning. This Eckersley is about as close a thing to a machine as any pitcher you'll ever see.
You know, we mentioned Kirk Gibson's home run earlier in the game, and you saw that and heard that great call by Jack, that before that he had walked Mike Davis. That's the last hitter that he has walked in postseason play. Mike Davis before the Gibson home run.
That was 88.
1988, that's 2 years ago.
Barry Larkin has a walk, a run scored, and 0 for 3. Ball 1 from Dennis. And it's going to be a 1-2-3 inning for Dennis Eckersley as Canseco makes the catch and sends us into the 9th inning with the scoreboard saying 7-0 Cincinnati.
Floor at Riverfront, they have the crown jewels of the Cincinnati Reds, an historic past here, the world champion trophies from the Big Red Machine, 75 and 76, Pete Rose statue. But if you're a real baseball collector, this is the one I think you want. The 1919 baseball from the world champions back then. And it's signed by the winning pitcher, Dutch Ruther. And Tim, that's about the only player you haven't told me a story about.
I don't know who Dutch Ruther was. That was the year of the Black Sox scandal, though.
Here's Gallego on a strike, and now fouled. Strike 2 with Randy Myers on the hill for Cincinnati in the 9th.
Cincinnati beat the White Sox 5-3, 5 games to 3. That was when the World Series was 5 out of 9, the best 5 out of 9. 1919, 20, and 21. After having it earlier 5 out of 9 in 1903.
And Myers gets a strikeout of Gallego. There's Willie Randolph. Randy Myers gets a strikeout to start the 9th inning. And the batter is Dave Henderson, pinch hitting for Dennis Eckersley, who had an easy 8th inning. Oakland has won 10 postseason games in a row. Strike 1 to Henderson. Leadoff man is gone. And the pitch is low. Tim McCarver, the one thing we must establish here, if Cincinnati was going to have a chance to win the series, they had to beat Dave Stewart somewhere along the line. And apparently they've done it here tonight.
And we talked about at the beginning of the show, and the beginning of the game.
Henderson hits it foul. Breaks the bat, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I think Dave Stewart was getting the reputation, the well-deserved reputation of being invulnerable. And here Cincinnati comes up. They beat Dave Stewart. He was working on his 6th day. And if they can hold on, and they appear that they will, it will certainly be of psychological benefit going into tomorrow's game. And regardless of the outcome of tomorrow's game, knowing that they have broken a 10-game winning streak going into Oakland on Friday.
And 6 postseason victories in a row by Dave Stewart, who last year threw a 5-hit shutout against the Giants in the opening game. And Henderson got a good swing at that one. So a couple of streaks are going down the tube tonight. There's Jose. He'll be the winning pitcher. He worked the first 7 in a 7-hit shutout. Benzinger next to him. And Myers steps off. He is the 3rd hurler of the night for Cincinnati. Count is 2-2. Henderson is one of these happy people. He's always smiling. 2-2 the count. Oakland has left 10 men on base tonight while being shut out. And another strikeout for Randy Myers. So the Reds have asserted themselves here this evening. They're not only going to win this game, they have asserted themselves as good champions of the National League, capable of winning the World Series. Not that they're going to, but they could. Ricky Henderson is the third man up in this inning. And the fans want this game to end right here. They're on their feet. Ricky has had a single and a double, 2 for 4. So he's his old self. And he'll be on display here tomorrow night. And it's Bob Welch against Danny Jackson. See how the left-hander fares against Oakland. Strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ricky gets his third hit of the night. And he'll shoot down to second base ahead of the throw from Eric Davis. 3 for 5 for Ricky Henderson. And the 9th Oakland hit. By the way, if they leave him on, they will tie a record of leaving 11 men on while being shut out in the World Series game.
Been done 4 times, most recently by the Orioles versus the New York Mets back in 1969. That's real unusual to leave 11 men stranded and be shut out.
Willie McGee has a hit, 1 for 4. He's the only switch hitter in their lineup this evening. Ball 1. The Reds got 2 in the first on the home run by Eric Davis. 2 in the third, a walk to Larkin, double by Hatcher, infield out by O'Neill. They got 3 in the 5th. Double by Hatcher, single by Davis. 2-run single by Sabo. Hatcher 3 hits and a walk. Davis single and a home run and 3 RBIs. A walk and a 2-run single by Sabo. Has a 7-0 in the 9th, 2 out. McGee hits it to O'Neill. The Reds have won it. Well, this is what got Cincinnati going in the very first inning. A walk to Hatcher, and this 2-out home run by Eric Davis. And Dave Stewart pitched 4 innings and gave up 4 runs. Pat O'Brien is going to come along with much more here on the heels of the opener, with Cincinnati winning it 7-0.
Welcome back to Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I guess the experts were wrong about this one. Game 1 anyway. Cincinnati leads the Athletics 1-0 in the 87th World Series. Game 1 is over for now, and you would have thought they won the World Series to hear the celebration here at Riverfront following the game. 7-0 was the final score of Game 1, and somewhere down there, our Jim Cott caught up with Tony La Russa as he walked off the field. Let's hear what he had to say.
Right after a loss like this, I mean, you can't script these games. You expect Dave Stewart to go out there and do what he always does. You can make a lot of excuses. You could say, well, it's a new mound, a new strike zone, 6 days rest. What did it appear to you with Stu tonight?
Well, I think the first thing you want to do is don't make an excuse. I think, his location was off, and every time he either fell behind the count, either walked the guy, which hurt a couple of times, or got the ball too much from the middle, they hit it. So I think you got to give them credit.
You know, the hitters have not exploded for quite a while. Once again, there's 2 ways to look at that. You've seen some good pitching, but are your hitters swinging the bat the way they have during most of the season?
Well, I saw decent contact tonight, Jim. In fact, we had, 3 or 4 run-scoring opportunities, and Didn't get a base hit, but overall, I thought we had good life as far as actions at the plate. It's just one game we got beat. You got to give them credit. We got roughed up.
And you got Cy Young Award winner going out tomorrow.
Well, Bobby's been a real good stopper for us, and that's what we'll need tomorrow.
All right, back to you, Pat.
Game 1 indeed, and they schedule this thing best out of 7. We'll be back to hear from the winners right after this. Stay with us. Back to Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium, where the Reds have just defeated the Athletics 7-0 in Game 1 of the World Series, and he may not be laying claim to Mr. October just yet, but for sure he is Mr. October 16th. And let's go down and talk to Eric Davis. Here's Jim Cott.
Yeah, he sure is, Pat. I mean, they're rocking here in Cincinnati, and what I got to ask Eric is, now the word we got, you're going to come out tonight and you're just going to try to make contact, hit singles, go the other way. Didn't work out that way.
Well, that's what I was trying to do, Kitty. I was just going out there trying to make good, solid contact. I just got a pitch that I can handle and get my arms extended, and, that just goes to show you that all you got to do is put the bat on the ball.
You know, the one thing that I think everyone was concerned about, if you're a Cincinnati fan, is when you dove for that ball, left shoulder, but you tell me it's the little finger on your right hand that you injured.
Well, that's what I did. I jammed my pinky finger. When I dove, I tried to balance myself, and then I jammed a little bit, but it'll be all right.
You know, you come out and you hear all about Dave Stewart. Any surprises tonight, not throwing as well as you thought he would?
Well, I didn't think he threw that bad. I think we were patient. We got a hit in the counts, and the kind of pitches that they have, they're going to come right at you. And, we were just trying to be patient, and we hit the ball pretty good.
All right, let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
All right, Jim, thank you very much, and congratulations to Eric Davis. And you could have booked this one. The Chevrolet player of the game is Eric Davis of the Cincinnati Reds. Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in his behalf to the Special Olympics. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us. And it seems the lights are shining a little brighter in Cincinnati, Ohio tonight. Most of the people have left the ballpark, but a couple guys still up there working. Jack and Tim, what'd you think?
Well, first of all, this isn't work, Pat. And I think we saw an upset, 7-0 Cincinnati. Although Oakland left 11, they did have their chances. And to repeat, if Cincinnati was going to have a chance to win this series, they had to beat Dave Stewart somewhere along the line. And that's what they accomplished here tonight, Tim.
And I'll tell you one thing, Pat and Jack, to show you how well Glasnost is working, the Reds are on top of the World Series 1-0, and we have Danny Jackson and Bob Welch tomorrow night, and tomorrow night obviously a big game for the Reds. I mean, if they win that ball game and they go into Oakland 2-0, then it'll be the Oakland Athletics with their backs against the wall, the proverbial wall, and Oakland really hasn't been in that position over the last couple of years.
Now, a couple of streaks were broken tonight. 6 wins in a row in postseason for Dave Stewart. That went by the boards. 10 wins in a row in postseason by Oakland. No more of that. But Canseco was really pounding the ball in batting practice tonight. Look for him tomorrow night against the left-hander, Danny Jackson. Pat O'Brien's going to come back with more here at Riverfront Stadium. The Reds won it 7-0 after this word from your local station.
Welcome back to Riverfront. You know, before tonight's game, Lou Piniella told us we can play with these guys. The experts are wrong about this, and certainly proved right as they win Game 1 handily, 7-0. A reminder now to stay tuned for the CBS News late night program America Tonight, featuring an interview with Margie Howell, the wife of the American ambassador in Kuwait, who is still in the U.S. Embassy. That's America Tonight right after your local news. And then join us again here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for Game 2 of the 1990 World Series on CBS Sports. The Athletics will send 27-game winner Bob Welch to the mound against Danny Jackson, the Cincinnati southpaw. Until then, for Jack Buck, Tim McCarver, and Jim Cott, I'm Pat O'Brien. Good night from Cincinnati.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 1 of the 1990 World Series has been brought to you by Lexus LS400 and ES250.
The 1990 World Series shifts west to California as the city of Oakland hosts the baseball world for the 3rd straight year. The A's and their fans hoping the home field can stop the Reds in their tracks. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, sites of games 3, 4, and 5 of the 1990 World Series. Join us for the next hour as we look back at the Reds' victories in games 1 and 2, see how Ricky Henderson compares with the greatest playoff performer of all time, look back at the Bay Area earthquake of a year ago, and MC Hammer joins us with the plays of the year. And joining us now, Joe Morgan, Ray Knight, and Peter Gammons. And gentlemen, some people in this city are in a state of shock. But Joe, you're not.
No, I'm not shocked. As I said before, I think the A's have never faced a team like the Cincinnati Reds other than the Chicago White Sox, but that was not on AstroTurf. Speed kills, and the Reds have a lot of speed, they have good pitching, and they put the ball in play. They play good AstroTurf baseball, and that speed has put a lot of pressure on the A's. I think things will be a little different here in Oakland, but I still think the Cincinnati Reds will win the World Series.
And, John, I think that I'm not surprised either. I'm surprised a little bit in the way it's happened. Them beating Stewart, and I think he's the best pitcher in baseball in big ball games, and then beating Eckersley, who I think is the best reliever. I thought if those two guys would show up big, and obviously the Reds came out with that. They have great talent. You look at that bullpen and the bench, the speed, and Lou Piniella, I think, is a big factor with that fiery attitude. And I'm not surprised that they're ahead, but I'm surprised at the way they got ahead.
Well, John, I think the biggest thing is that the Reds' greatest defensive strength is their relief pitching, and they have completely dominated. Those 7 1/3 innings the other night was just awesome. And the A's greatest strength is the starting pitching, and they've given up 8 runs in 11 1/3 innings. Stewart and Welch haven't been as effective against the Reds. Part of it's the Reds, but still, you know, when you take your strengths and the other team's strengths, it makes a big difference.
All right, you were with the '86 Mets that beat the Houston Astros, but I don't think any of us here thought that Billy Hatcher was as good as he was in 1986 when he had that tremendous series, but he comes in, he tops it 7 for 7.
Well, I thought at the beginning of the season, and I said this at that time, the addition of Billy Hatcher to the Reds was the single most important thing they did this year. Billy Hatcher is a perfect second-place hitter for an AstroTurf team. He likes to bunt. He will push the ball. He'll hit the ball the other way behind the runner, and he can pull the ball. So you can't play him, you know, just to hit the other way. And he has power, and he has speed, and he's a very disciplined player. He will do whatever is necessary for this team to win. So that makes him a real good team player, and that's why I like Billy Hatcher.
And John, even when he was with the Chicago Cubs, I thought he was going to be a big player in Major League Baseball. He did all the things Joe mentioned, but he always seemed to get the big hit. Never got caught up in the excitement. Billy Hatcher, when you see him before a game or after a game, always the same. Those are the people that perform. They don't get caught up in all the hoopla. They just go out there and do their job. In the playoffs in 1986, he seemed to get every big hit, steal the base, make the big plays in the outfield. He's an outstanding defensive outfielder, and he's very, very smart. He never makes a mistake.
Peter, everybody talked about the bullpens coming into this series and how good both bullpens were, but the A's bullpen got rocked in game number 1 after Stewart came out of there, and then in game number 2, Tony La Russa neglected to go to them and stuck with Bob Welch.
Well, frankly, I thought Tony got a little intimidated by the Reds bullpen. I really think that they're so deep and they're so powerful that Tony got in a situation in the second game where he seemed really reluctant to take out Bob Welch. He was afraid. I mean, normally in that situation, he's got the lead. He's going into the 8th inning. Hey, he doesn't want to go to Gene Nelson, but why not bring Dennis Eckersley in there? But he seemed very worried about that situation. And to me, he just didn't use his bullpen the way he did during the season.
You have to remember one other thing. Last year, the Giants, when they got into the A's bullpen, they beat them up pretty badly, too. Stewart and Moore last year, of course, shut them down. But whenever they got to the bullpen, they were able to put some numbers on the board.
Gentlemen, when we come back to the Bay Area, we're reminded of things much more important than baseball. 1 year ago yesterday, the World Series was rocked as Northern California was hit with a devastating earthquake. The World Series aspirations of the Oakland A's and San Francisco Giants took a back seat to the plight of the people in those communities. Bob Lee joins us now with more on the day the World Series shook.
It was a brilliant October afternoon when, from Watsonville in the south to the hills of San Francisco, the earth began to shake.
Allowing Jose Canseco to score, and he fails to get Dave Parker at second base, so the Oakland A's take
I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
A portion of the upper deck has collapsed onto the lower deck. A very small portion.
Yeah, it's very bad out here. There's a fire on Beach Street in the marina. Maybe you can...
And we are feeling a shock right now, and that shaking in your picture is being amplified by the
tremor that has just gone through the top of the stadium.
I made the judgment to call the game when it was clear that it was unlikely that we'd have power for quite a while.
For those of us at Candlestick Park, it was a novelty, an inconvenience. But tragically, here in Oakland, it was much more than that. 38 people died when the Cypress structure, the elevated highway, collapsed. The Marina District of San Francisco, or down in Watsonville and in Santa Cruz. The earthquake that lasted 15 seconds will last a lifetime. 62 people died, 4,000 injured, $6 billion in immediate damage, scattered pockets of devastation.
So what you're saying is that last October we didn't see the big one?
No, it was the pretty big one. It wasn't the big one.
It was a 7.1 centered near Loma Prieta on the San Andreas Fault. 160 years of seismic history shows large quakes to be in clustered pairs.
The only one that doesn't have a partner yet is last October's. So the assumption, if this holds true, and this is not great science, this is almost the realm of pseudoscience, but if this holds true, we can expect another magnitude 7 within 2 to 5 years.
Rebuilding has been very slow, even in San Francisco's Marina District, where the scars, physical and emotional, remain. Bob Welch of the A's still lives there.
You walk out the front door, you know, and all the construction and everything is still going on as a constant reminder, but, you know, something that a lot of people were affected, you know, by death.
Across the bay, Oakland City Hall remains vacant, unsafe. The 880 cipher structure, scene of such agony and courage, is gone. What remains is recovery.
Yes, this is a resilient community because it's used to, I think oppression may be a harsh term, but it's used to being deprived, and it's used to being mediocre because it's largely a minority community.
And they've been able to put their lives back together.
And they will put their lives back together because they're doing it all the time.
Of all the bonds forged through this tragedy, none transcend this one. Shira Cox lived here in the Marina. She was trapped in the wreckage of the collapsed building. Within 30 minutes, San Francisco fireman Jerry Shannon crawled into the debris.
As we started to go in, people were saying, just for our own good, letting us know that it could be an aftershock and what was going on with the building.
You're actually telling him to get out, too.
Their story was dramatized in a recent TV movie. The rescue was endangered when the collapsed building ignited.
Well, when the building caught fire, then it got to be kind of a race. They started pouring water in because it got so hot it was unbearable.
Jerry calmed me, though. I mean, he kept promising me he would not leave me. I asked him at one point not to leave me, and he said he wouldn't, and he would be there, and he would get me out.
She had broken her hip, but after several hours, Jerry and several fellow firefighters brought her out. A remarkable moment in the midst of tragedy.
He's checked on me in the hospital, make sure they're doing therapy right. He and his wife bought me a Christmas tree and decorated my apartment last Christmas and taken me out to dinner. It's definite, more than friendship.
I guess the first thing that I was asked when I got out was somebody standing there with a notepad said, I was across the street for the last hour and a half, and I wonder, how could you have stayed in there? And I just thought, how the hell could you leave?
One year later, that spirit fills the effort of returning so many lives to normal. In San Francisco, I'm Bob Lee, ESPN.
ESPN 1990 World Series Special is brought to you by Isuzu. For features, styling, and price, there's no comparison. By Embassy Suites Hotels, where you can afford to upgrade to a suite every trip. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you.
Welcome back to Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. John Saunders here for our World Series special. The Oakland A's down 2-0 to the Cincinnati Reds. We've already talked about that, and that's not a surprise to all of us here. But they do get to come back home, get to play now on natural grass, and they get the designated hitter back.
Well, John, I think a designated hitter is really going to help Oakland for two reasons. You get Harold Baines in the lineup against a right-hander. You get Dave Henderson and Willie McGee in the lineup against a left-hander, Tom Browning, tomorrow. With Willie McGee in the lineup, he's a guy that can do a lot of things. He hasn't come up big, as we always say in the series so far, but he has before, with 2 home runs before and great speed, the type of guy that can surprise you with speed and some pop. And Dave Henderson with that big bat. And I think that it's going to be a big advantage because Lou Piniella cannot use all of his marbles, so to say, the guys in that dugout, people that he can go to, the tremendous depth on the bench, and it's going to negate a lot of that.
Well, John, I think, too, the advantage that Cincinnati had in Cincinnati because of their lineup, they're geared to a National League style, with that number 8 hitter we've talked about. But Mariano Duncan's been so important. He's extended innings so that the pitcher made the last out 4 times. The first 9 runs the Reds scored in this series were in innings that Barry Larkin left off. And the other thing is, I mean, that Oakland lineup, when they don't have the DHs, can be really bad. I mean, in the second game, the last 4 hitters in that lineup combined on the season had as many extra base hits as Duncan alone.
Well, I tell you what, just to play devil's advocate here again, you know, you talk about getting one more bat for the A's. The Reds are going to add one more bat, too. You know, you're going to put Todd Benzinger in there. This guy started for the Reds most of the first half of the season, did a great job. Then he was replaced, you know, but now I think they're going to get him back, and I just don't see where it's going to make all the difference in the world. The only difference I see is they're going to play on natural turf, and I think that's going to cut down on the A's Red speed a little bit, but not a lot.
Jose Canseco did hit a home run last night, right, but the A's certainly still have to be concerned with their inability to put runners across the plate.
Well, my point is this. They're not a group of great hitters. There are not a lot of 300 hitters in there. I think we get confused with the fact when we talk about the A's. We think that there are 7 300 hitters in the lineup. They're really not. There are not a lot of good hitters, you know, pure hitters in that lineup. They have some power. They have some guys who can hit in the clutch, etc. But they're not pure hitters. And I think what is happening is the Reds pitching staff, which has really been underrated in this whole thing. Everyone talks about the A's pitching staff and the starting pitcher, etc. The Reds have a very fine pitching staff as well. And I think the biggest thing in this whole series is the Reds have the best defense in baseball.
And the Reds bullpen has been the stars of this show right now, right?
Well, no question about it. We talked about that a lot, and it's just the depth of the bullpen. When you have a guy named Scott Scudder, who has probably as good a stuff as that whole staff, only getting used, you know, every 5 or 6 days during the regular season. He's a guy that has a type of talent that can be a number 2 or 3 starter on most ball clubs. And then you got Armstrong, who is probably the most valuable player on that team the first half. And he really struggled, but he showed last night that he had that great stuff, and when his arm's not hurting, and it just is to be seen if he's healthy. Then you get deep into Myers and Dibble and Charlton, and they're probably the deepest staff in all of baseball.
Well, they're so deep, in fact, Ray, that when you come back here, they just pitched 7 1/3 innings and won a game for them. They come back to get a day off. I mean, okay, they probably won't use Scudder because they're worried about Rio's blister, so they'll hold him back for Game 4 in case they need him. But still, they can get 3 innings out of Charlton, 2 out of Dibble, at least 2 out of Myers. They didn't even use Wednesday night. I mean, they can go, if Browning gets knocked out in the 3rd inning, they can still come back and shut them down.
So it certainly has been a bit of a strange World Series thus far. 2-0. The Cincinnati Reds with the lead, and they are in the driver's seat, although the Oakland A's hope that the home cooking will be the difference. Stay with us. More to come in just a moment. Dennis Eckersley, Ricky Henderson. But first, here's another look at a World Series memory from 1984. The Detroit Tigers facing the San Diego Padres. The game decided at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Tigers fans could sense the victory. It came down to the key moment. Kirk Gibson at the plate, Goose Gossage on the mound. Dick Williams giving Gossage the choice of whether or not to pitch to him.
You want the infield in on him? No. He don't want to walk you. He don't want to walk you.
They give Gibson the left field foul line. Brown is in left.
Lou Piniella checking out the troops as his Cincinnati Reds take batting practice just 2 victories away from a World Series championship. Welcome back once again to our World Series special here at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. You know, the book goes you got to keep Rickey Henderson off the bases to have a chance to win in the World Series. Well, the Oakland A's, Rickey Henderson, has not been kept off the bases 5 times in the first 2 games. He has been on, but just the same, it's the Cincinnati Reds with a 2-0 lead. But Rickey Henderson does compare with Lou Brock, the all-time greatest performer in World Series history. Lou Brock, the average up at .391 all-time. That is tops. Rickey Henderson's average is higher, although he's played in many fewer games, and if you factor in the championship series, it's actually down. Now, Joe Morgan joins us. You've had plenty of chance to see Lou Brock over the years of your playing career and Rickey Henderson since. How do they compare?
Well, I don't think you really should compare them as individuals simply because the game has changed so much. Lou Brock, when he played, he did not steal as many bases, so to speak, for numbers. Rickey steals bases, well, you know, under certain circumstances, but he also steals for numbers. And I think that's natural because base stealers now steal more for numbers than they did when Lou Brock was around.
Here's a look at Rickey Henderson getting the jump. You say his technique much different, though, than the master.
Well, Lou Brock had a sprinter's type of stance. He runs low right there. Lou is staying down, and he comes up as he goes. Rickey takes off, and he's just running full speed right away. But Rickey has a lot more power, of course, than did Lou Brock.
28 home runs this year. He has more home runs out of the leadoff spot than any man in the history of the game. But Lou Brock, you can't doubt that .391 average in World Series. A clutch performer.
A very clutch performer. Lou Brock, I think a lot of people forget about Lou Brock being a complete player. He also had over 3,000 hits. They just think of the stolen bases, but he could do a lot of things on the ball field, and he was a real good offensive player.
Why have the A's been having problems, though, with Rickey Henderson getting on the base?
Well, I think the Reds have adapted a policy of saying, hey, so Rickey gets on base, if he steals second, he steals third, he scores a run, that's only 1 run. We're not going to worry so much about Rickey Henderson and let one of the big guys hit the ball out of the ballpark with Rickey on base. So what you see now is Rickey maybe stealing second, but then someone still has to drive him in. So they're concentrating on the other players. It's kind of like basketball. Let this guy get all his points, but shut down the other guys. And I think that's the policy that the Reds have adapted, and it's a very good one so far.
There's definitely differences between Rickey Henderson and Lou Brock, but there's no question that come next year, Rickey Henderson will pass Lou Brock on the all-time stolen base list. Rickey Henderson truly is born to run.
At night we ride to mansions of glory and suicide machines, sprung from cages on Highway 9, chrome wheel, fuel injected and stepping out over the line. Oh, baby, this town rips the bones from your back. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap. We gotta get out while we're young, 'cause tramps like us, baby, we were born to run.
3-2 pitches. Henderson off. Throw to third. Safe.
And there goes Henderson. This is Henderson's 81st stolen base, a new Yankee record.
And there he goes. It's a pitch out. The throw by Simmons. Number 119.
This time Liriano Chichi. There he goes. And after 62 years, move over Ty Cobb.
The highway's jammed with broken heroes on a last chance power drive. Everybody's out on the run tonight, but there's no place left to hide. Together, Wendy, we can live with the sadness. I'll love you with all the madness in my soul. Oh, someday, girl, I don't know when we're gonna get to that place where we really want to go.
Ricky Henderson, Born to Run. When we come back, we'll have a conversation with a man who was born to hit, George Brett. The man who was born to rap and born to dance, MC Hammer. We're in Oakland, home of some of the greatest stars in the history of the World Series. We'll be back in a moment. Her favorite World Series moment. Even if your team has never made it to the series or your favorite player has never experienced the World Series stage, there is still that one at-bat or the play in the field that will last forever.
Here's the pitch. Swung on, belted. It's a long one. Deep in left center. Back for Jean Frito. Back. He makes a one-handed catch against the bullpen. Oh, doctor. Back to throw. There's a long drive. It's going to be, I believe. The Giants won the pennant. 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 There's a long drive. Way back in center field. Way back. It is. Ditmar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep to left. This may do it. Back to the wall goes Berra. It is over the fence. Home run. The Pirates win. Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Into the dirt. Here comes the pennant-winning run. The home run the center. There it goes. The long drive. If it stays fair, home run. Mark Littell delivers high drive, hits the right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees. Hit high in the air to left field, going to the corner. Yastrzemski. It's over the wall. It's a home run for Bucky Dent. Yankees get the lead 3-2, and it just clears the right field. Left field hit well. This ball is gone. Home run, Tito Landrum. And Baltimore takes a 1-0 lead. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
Those are some of the great calls in postseason history. And last night, perhaps the most important call of all came for Reds pitcher Tom Browning during Game 2. It was the hospital calling to tell Browning his wife, Debbie, was about to give birth to the couple's third child. Tucker Thomas Browning was born at 12:27 a.m. Eastern Time, weighing 6 pounds, 10 ounces. Congratulations to Tom and Debbie. Now, another note about Browning's adventure. While he was at the hospital, Reds manager Lou Piniella asked Reds announcer Marty Brennaman to send out a plea over the airwaves for Browning's return to the ballpark because the bullpen was getting pretty thin. The Reds managed to win without him, and Browning will start Game 3 tomorrow night. Now, up next, our World Series special continues with MC Hammer, Dennis Eckersley, and a look at baseball memorabilia. But first, another World Series memory from 1973, Game 2, Charlie Finley's amazing A's against the New York Mets.
We had a AAA player that came up at the end of the year, and Charlie wanted to activate him as the second baseman. And he thought he saw the opportunity when Andrews let a ball go through his legs in extra innings with the bases loaded. A ball going through a guy's legs, that'll happen from time to time. And then they charged him with another error on a throw to first.
My foot was on the bag. And I think that when you reviewed a film clip of it, he was out. But then, unfortunately, they called him safe.
There wasn't anything wrong with his back. Charlie said, well, you have a bad back, and we're going to put you on a disabled list. Well, the commissioner wouldn't allow it. He fired him, actually, and Mike Andrews was heartbroken.
Okay.
10 years ago, his team tasted defeat in the 1980 World Series. 5 years ago, the Kansas City Royals were World Series champions. This year, George Brett became the first man in baseball history to win batting titles in 3 separate decades. This year's crown, along with 1976 and 1980. Recently, George Brett sat down with our Andrea Kramer.
You end up being the third oldest to ever win a batting title.
probably not something you want to be reminded of. But Ted Williams and Honus Wagner's not bad company to be keeping. So what, if anything, made winning this batting title different?
The way I started off the season. I think I was hitting as low as 200 in the middle of May. People in Kansas City, the media, the print people, the newspaper people, the talk show hosts, the announcers, fans that come to the games, were all suggesting I was over the hill, done, trade the bum. I think the problem was I believed all the critics early in the season. All these so-called experts, the critics that know so much about this game of baseball. But I believed a lot of them, and when you believe that you're over the hill and you believe that you can't play anymore and you believe that you can't hit anymore, you're not going to perform on the field. I've always had that one thing inside of me where I always believed very much in myself. I always knew that I could hit. I always knew that I could play the game of baseball. All of a sudden I doubted my ability, and I think it took me longer to get out of this slump than normal. The amazing thing was all the people pulling for me. Not only my teammates, a lot of other teammates were telling me, hey, I hope you win, I hope you win. Rafael Palmeiro, who was in contention till a week to go in the season when we played the Rangers, he actually told me he wanted me to win over himself. And I said, what, are you crazy? He says, hey, I have plenty of years to win one. You're 37. You go ahead. Hopefully I'll win one down the line, but I'd really like to see you do it. And the fans just got so into this thing in Kansas City. The fans on the road got into it so much. It was like, come on, we want to see you. We want to see you. So it was great. It was a lot of fun.
The 3 batting titles, the quest for 400 over your career. Can you say that being in a World Series is the pinnacle? Winning a World Series is the pinnacle of accomplishment?
Yeah, definitely. The only thing that really matters to me is when I'm extremely happy, if I look around the locker room and everybody else in that locker room's happy. Now, there's times when, you do something very, very special, and it does make you feel good the team wins and stuff, but to be the ultimate happiness of a baseball player, it's got to be shared by everybody in the room. And I think it's got to be covered by a lot of media. Obviously, the World Series is covered by a lot of media. It's just something that you'll never forget.
The late Billy Martin said that you were his least favorite hitter to see come up to the plate when the game was on the line. And he should have that experience, especially from the postseason. You just were unbelievable in the postseason. What enabled you to sort of, I hate to use this expression, but rise to the occasion?
I really don't know, but the only thing I can think of is you get in these situations where the game's on the line, or if it's a championship series or the World Series, a lot of people feel real nervous on the way to the ballpark. They feel real nervous the night before, and they're not able to control it once the game starts. Well, I was scared to death my first World Series. I was scared to death my first championship series. But all of a sudden, when the game started, I was able to relax. And I've always had this thing in situations, pressure situations when I'm playing, is I don't try harder, I try easier. I try to breathe regularly. I take a lot of deep breaths, and I think it just controls my nervous system inside. And instead of grabbing the bat like this, you're trying so dang hard to hit it, I'm still nice and relaxed, and it's just something that I've been able to do where maybe some people haven't, or maybe it's because I do rise to the occasion, or I have in the past, and I've just been able to get big hits, and the teams really needed them in championship series or World Series play.
In the 7th game of the '85 series, you're up 11-0, but before the final out, you walked to the mound and you talked to Brett Saberhagen. What did you say to him?
I just went up to him and I said, hey, look, you're 1 out away. Don't do anything stupid. Just go ahead and throw strikes. And when you get this last guy to make an out, you come over to me first. And that's exactly what happened.
You wanted the first hug, huh?
Mm-hmm. I wanted my picture on the cover of the magazine. No.
You have so many highlights over your career in the postseason, the 6 league championship series, the 2 World Series. What memories stick out the most?
Well, obviously, I think the home run I hit off Goose Gossage in the '80 playoffs, the 3rd and final game. We were losing 2-1 at the time, and I hit a 3-run home run off him to give us the lead 4-2. We ended up winning that game and going on to lose to the Philadelphia Phillies in the '80 World Series. That's probably the biggest individual achievement of my career, I think. As far as probably the greatest feeling I've ever had was obviously winning the 1985 World Series. But not only winning it, but winning it the way we did. We were down 3-1 to the Blue Jays. We were big underdogs going into the series, and to come back and win the last 3 games to go to our second World Series, and then duplicating that feat against the Cardinals, a week later. That was probably the greatest thrill of my life to this date. Hopefully there will be more, but until now, that's the greatest thrill.
George Brett, one of baseball's all-time greatest hitters and certainly one of the best in postseason. The Oakland A's could use his help because the A's, to this point, have been red-faced. They have struggled at the plate. You can see just 1 home run, 4 runs batted in, shutout in game number 1, left 30 men on base. They've struck out 14 times. Maybe the A's are thinking of this as they take to the field for batting practice as they look ahead to game number 3, down 2-0 to the Cincinnati Reds. We'll be back with more in a moment. Welcome back once again to Oakland, where the A's hope to finally get into the World Series. So much had been made of the bullpens, Dennis Eckersley on one side and Randy Myers on the other side. But Ray, Joe, and Peter, when you look at the bullpen of the Cincinnati Reds, you can't look past a guy by the name of Rob Dibble, probably the best closer it could be in the game, but he's really a setup man. He wants to be a closer, and you think he should be.
I definitely do. The man scares me, and I'm sitting up there about 200 yards away from him. You can always tell when a guy is scary by how quiet the dugout is. And believe me, when Rob Dibble is pitching, nobody says a thing because they don't want to see one of those 99 mile-an-hour fastballs around their chin. But he has that great command, and he is the guy that's going to eventually be a closer in the big leagues. He's scary. I mean, that's the thing about him. He's so intimidating. He's 6'4", 245 pounds, and last year he set that all-time record for strikeouts per 9 innings, almost 13 strikeouts per 9 innings. So he's the type of guy that you want to have the ball in the last inning.
And I think he also has a perfect attitude for a closer. I mean, he is intimidating, as Ray said, but he's also a guy that's very competitive. He's very cordial with his teammates. He gets along well. But he's a guy that I think that's really helped them in their attitude toward the Oakland A's. The A's are intimidators of a sort themselves, and their whole team are intimidators, plus their pitching staff. And I think Rob Dibble matches up very well with them, and I think a little of that is rubbed off on the rest of the Reds. So I think he's led them in a lot of ways, not just on the field, but I think he leads them a little bit in the clubhouse as well.
Marge Schott says at times she'd like to slap him because he talks too much. When she does the slapping, it's going to be with her wallet onto his purse strings. Now, Peter, on the other side of the coin, Dennis Eckersley, no one is going to question that he is one of the greatest closers in the history of the game. However, he hasn't had a lot of luck when it comes World Series time.
No, he hasn't. Of course, the other night he wasn't even in a save situation. He really hasn't had many opportunities to prove himself. He is very different from Dibble. They both have great control, and that's something that's underrated about Dibble. But Eckersley is not an intimidating kind of pitcher. He's a guy that really uses finesse. He's a power guy, but he still has absolutely the most amazing control maybe of any pitcher of the last 8 to 10 years.
Compare Eck to another guy who made his living in this ballpark and did a tremendous job, Raleigh Fingers.
Well, in certain ways, they're very much alike. Raleigh had the one great pitch, the great slider, that Eck really doesn't have. But Eckersley, there's so much alike. They've both been used very well. Dick Williams sort of invented the way relievers are used. They're both very competitive. They both have that sort of wild look. I think Eck, the way he cocks his eye as he comes out of that delivery, is like a guy shooting a gun. But Raleigh had the same effect. He'd come in there. The difference is Eck is very excitable. Raleigh hardly even knew where he was half the time. He used to, he's a hitter, let's go throw to him. He couldn't have cared less. Perfect.
Let's talk a little bit about Eckersley losing the game to the Cincinnati Reds on the double that just bounces inside the line. What does that do to a pitcher's psyche when you're considered unhittable, your team's considered invincible, and we find out that both aren't true?
Well, I think the only people that thought the A's were invincible, including Dave Stewart, Welch, and our Oakland A's fans, I don't think the Reds felt that way. And I think that they were not intimidated by Eckersley the other night. He did a great job for the first, couple of hitters. They were swinging at him. They were not taking a lot of pitches. They were aggressive. I thought they were in pretty good shape against him. And I was impressed by the way that Lou Piniella had confidence in Joe Oliver to send him up there and let him hit in that situation. You have to remember they had Jeff Reed over there in the bench, but they didn't want to use him. He said, go hit him. And I think that shows right there there that they're not intimidated by Eckersley, and I think he's going to have to get these guys out. Anytime they get runners on, I think they're going to go up swinging.
But I don't think it affects him, John. He's had too much success. He's won too many games. He's saved too many ball games, been there too many times. He is the key to this ball club, always has been in my estimation. Sure, you're heading ball games, but you have to close it out. So many teams don't have the closer. He's the epitome of the guy that just slams the door on you with that great control and that mental toughness. You don't become a closer in the major leagues unless you're mentally tough. He's as tough as anybody, and I don't think it affect him in the upcoming games.
And Peter, to get to the closer, your starting pitcher has to do the job. Mike Moore?
Well, I think that's a little bit of a question. There's a lot of pressure on Mike Moore. There's been a lot of worry among the A's that he's not really a big money guy. He's pitched well under some pressure during the season, but it's a totally different pressure than what he's had. And the amazing thing is that, you know, that a guy like Tom Browning, his whole career has just been a very tough guy and a survivor. This is a tough lineup for him, but still, Tom Browning is Tom Browning.
And Tom Browning doesn't have the pressure of being down 2-0, as you say. Stay with us. We'll have more to come on our World Series special from the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. The Cincinnati Reds leading the Oakland A's 2-0. Plenty of memorabilia and trophies in the Reds' case. We'll be back. Collected baseball cards. We would trade a Mickey Mantle for a Willie Mays. His kids today trade a Jose Canseco for an Eric Davis. Little did we know those little pieces of cardboard could become invaluable years later. As Jimmy Roberts tells us, you might want to check your attic for some of those old cards.
Babe Ruth, Joe Medwick, Jazzy Vance.
It is another day at the office for Bob Ettinger, a man who has multi-million-dollar collections of art, furniture, glass, and most recently, baseball memorabilia.
Why, when I have 2 baseball bats signed by Babe Ruth, I don't need more than 1. And I have 2 signed by Babe Ruth, and I have 1 signed by Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb, and 1 signed by Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Mel Ott. And another bat comes along, just Babe Ruth. I can't help but buy it, and I'm not looking to sell it. You just want to collect it. That's the problem with collecting. There is absolutely no end.
That baseball memorabilia has attracted serious collectors like Bob Ettinger. He has baseballs autographed by 177 of the 206 Hall of Famers, is a testament to its explosive growth. Since 1980, the number of collectors is up 600%. Number of dealers is up 1,000%. And collectible magazine circulation, which ran at about 30,000 per month in 1980, is now up to 1.6 million. The majority of the industry lives and breathes in shows where big kids like Ettinger can rub shoulders with little kids. No matter what their size, dealers and collectors are always on the hunt for something new.
People love rookie cards, you know, getting that first card. We also put out a high school set this year. You know, all the top high school players around the country. Some expert rated them, and we put out like a 30-card set.
Anything to get in on the ground floor, where collectibles have turned into investments. $5,000 for a Willie Mays card. $50,000 for a 1913 John McGraw uniform, and more than $100,000 for a Honus Wagner card. The stakes are so high that now a company in Florida has established an electronic brokerage service to trade cards much the same way as stocks and bonds are traded on Wall Street.
I mean, my son works for Morgan Stanley, and here he says, Dad, do you realize that baseball cards are now above things that I'm selling, real estate and foreign lands and all?
In fact, the similarities between what's going on down here on Wall Street, the financial capital of the world, and what's going on in the baseball card and memorabilia business are perhaps greater than you might presume. Over the last decade, this community has been racked by all sorts of scandals. Insider trading scandals, ethical improprieties, and just plain abject greed. And as the baseball card and memorabilia business becomes a hot trading commodity, it too has had to deal with some of the very same problems. Dealers and collectors using metal detectors to search unopened crates for the 1 card in 1,000 which has a valuable hologram. Following trucks from factory to retailer to purchase cards in giant quantities before the general public has a chance. And the use of sequencing lists which tell which packs have the valuable star cards and which packs should be ignored. There's also a problem with fraudulent goods.
There's tremendous amount of forgery. There's a tremendous amount of fraud. As autographs become more and more popular and people see the prices that memorabilia and autographs are going for, there are more and more people coming out of the closet forging autographs.
John Rabin is himself a dealer and somewhat of a hired gun, employed by Ettinger to advise him and protect his investments.
When Mr. Ettinger and I were at a show, we walked over to a table and Mr. Ettinger said, look at this ball, I need this ball. It's a 1973 or supposed 1973 Mets ball. And I went over to look at it, and it had Gil Hodges on it. We both chuckled to ourselves because Gil Hodges had died in 1972.
Rabin advises all collectors at every level to be cautious. Know what you're buying and the person you are buying from. And while most collectors don't have the resources to feed their habits that Robert Ettinger does, you can be sure that they share something even greater in value. Their passion for the game.
You start reliving things. When you get a baseball and you start looking at the signatures on it and you get out the book to see, is it a 47 ball or 48 ball? You start looking and you think, gee, look at that fella there. I remember Billy Johnson who played for the Yankees, and I remember this one, remember that one. You start going back, and you go back into days that you tended to forget. You don't do that with a piece of art.
Reporting from New York, I'm Jimmy Roberts, ESPN.
By the way, you are never too old to start a new collection. In fact, Topps will insert at random some of their vintage cards dating back to 1952 into present-day packs. One person will find a certificate for a near-mint condition 1952 Mickey Mantle rookie card worth $8,000. We'll be back in a moment, but first, here's a look at how some cards have gained in value over the last 3 years. Nolan Ryan's 1968 Topps card was worth $100 3 years ago. It's now worth $1,200. Dennis Eckersley's 1976 Topps, $1.87, now $15. Dave Stewart's 1982 card has gone from 40 cents 3 years ago to $13 today. The only one that has dropped is Eric Davis's 1985 card from $30.87 to $19 today. Will Clark's 87 card worth more than 35 times what it was worth 3 years ago. You Can't Touch This as their fight song. In fact, MC Hammer is a former A's bat boy and team vice president. The nickname Hammer was handed him by A's players in the 70s, who thought he looked like Hammer and Hank Aaron. So with Hammer so historically entrenched in baseball, what better person to narrate the plays of the year?
You can't touch this.
You can't touch this. You can't touch him. MC Hammer can't touch that.
Hammer time. Hi, I'm MC Hammer, and I'm here to bust out Baseball Tonight's best plays of the year. So let's get it started with some hot defense.
Into deep center field, Lenny Dykstra. Great catch by Lenny Dykstra.
Bow on the charge. Bow is there. Yo! Felix Jose back at the track, and it is
Ground ball to second, a bad hop off Fletcher. Ian steps on the bag, and they still get the double play. Drags is back near the wall, and he has him for the second out.
squeezes on, popped up. Denny, did he catch it? Yes, they'll get the double play.
He made a great play, I want to tell you.
Bernansky. The Red Sox win! Believe it, New England!
Everybody say, oops, upside your head. Here's some weird plays that happened this year.
Takes a big turn. He'll try for second to throw.
I like that.
Anderson running out of room, and over the wall he goes along with the ball.
Off the handle, base hit. Boy, is he lucky. Tony Payne is just having a magnificent season for this ball. Got him! Got him! He's out!
And speaking of oops upside your head, here's one that Billy Swift got hit with, but I want to say he's all right. It didn't hammer him too hard. You know, sometimes we just seem to talk too much. Like Run DMC said, you talk too much. And while David Cone was talking, the ball players kept scoring right across the plate. Homeboy, you never shut up.